lot going on here today. A lot is happening here. So, with that being said, I'm going to go to Miki. Miki, I want to toss you this dateline because I know you've been waiting for this dateline all day. I've been waiting to hear it all day because I want to hear your take on it. I want to hear everyone's take on this. More importantly, I want to hear what the audience have to say. Guys, listen to me. If you guys have not been in Debate the News before or haven't spoken on Debate the News before, please do so, guys. Also, please remember and know that Debate the News, the podcast, and Debate the News, the group is a recorded, constantly recorded group and podcast. So if you're in here and if you speak up, your voice will be recorded and it will be aired. There's a possibility that it will be aired. So if you do not want your voice recorded, please leave the room now or remain on mute. Also, the views expressed by the speakers and the co-hosts and the hosts aren't necessarily those the views of Debate the News. So I just want to put that out there as well. But with that being said, guys, we want to jump right into this. Miki, are you ready for your dateline?
I am ready for the Dateline, Jonathan. Whereas yesterday I was very sad and a little confused. Today I'm pissed and upset as I have been reading that a lot of economists are pretty much like, what the F is going on? So, good to have a little validation out there, but we're all just in the same boat. Like, why is our president trying to drown us financially? I guess there's some bigger picture there that only exists in President Trump's head. So, let's get started tonight. A lot going on. First, not surprising, the Supreme Court sides with the Trump administration request on DEI related education grants. So, they have actually sided with the Trump administration in litigation over education related grants. As usual, the 5-4 split with Republican appointees in the majority, basically saying, and Chief Justice John Roberts actually dissented. So at least he gave it a shot. I found that John Roberts has actually been a little bit moderate in some cases. So shout out to him this time for remembering that. This is basically halting a federal trial judge's order that the Justice Department has to reinstate millions of dollars in federal grants that have been lawfully terminated. So, once again, DEI and the Trump administration rears its ugly head because we are going to punish federal or education systems that are deemed too woke by the Trump administration. The TikTok deal put on hold after China indicated it would reject it over tariffs. So remember, Donald Trump, in his sage wisdom, had said that the sovereign fund that he wanted to create it from the US, from what revenues, I have no idea at this point, to purchase TikTok. I believe Jeff Bezos and Amazon put their hand in the till as well and said, we're going to come out of that to pay for TikTok. Well, China said, stop, hammer time. Absolutely not. Trump on Friday extended by 75 days a deadline for ByteDance to sell US assets. Once again, overriding a judge, because I believe that judge said if TikTok had not been sold by a previous date, then it was going to go dark. But with Donald Trump, nobody cares about the judiciary, nobody cares about economists, nobody cares about the market. Everyone's rich and now we don't need TikTok. So let's just keep an eye on that. Finally, former President Obama and former Vice President Harris publicly rebuke Trump's second term actions, with Kamala saying, I don't mean to tell you so, but I told you so. And Barack Obama finally saying, now imagine if I had done anything like President Trump is doing, they probably would have gagged and tied me. He didn't actually say that. I'm throwing that in there. China slaps a 34% tax on all U.S. imports in retaliation for Trump's tariffs. This probably has to do with why we're seeing a second day of trading, just basically going crazy with all of these liquidations and the market being down. China basically said, bring it on, Donald Trump. And they are also positioning themselves with Japan and other countries against the United States. So this is a good one for me and you, Jonathan. And where's Grant? The surprising health benefits of swearing. It says it can help you tolerate pain, you'll work out harder, and it can help you regulate emotions. It can make people feel closer. So, absolutely, when we swear at people, swearing is caring. Donald Trump also shared a video claiming he's crashing the stock market on purpose. He shared a video on his Twitter account by some random TikToker who is undoubtedly ecstatic that President Trump has reshared his information, which is false. I'm not sure about everyone else, but isn't that market manipulation? SEC, where are you? And a little bit more news. Jerome Powell surprised by tariffs. The chair Fed basically said, Donald Trump, you are not going to use me in your TikTok videos to change the interest rates. What he said was tariffs are going to bring limited growth and they're also going to increase inflation. Once again, Jerome Powell restating what every 5-year old knows, except for Republicans and Donald Trump. And finally, we know today what we are talking about. The Dow plunges 2,200 points as tariff tumult rocks the markets. Apparently, in Donald Trump's world, maybe everything is on the inverse, so down is good. Perhaps he thinks that the market is up. So I am going to throw it back to you, Jonathan. Confusion and red is existing over here as we all try to figure out what in the hell the American president is doing.
I don't know what the president's doing. I think that what the president's doing right now is just, I don't even know if the president know what the president's doing. I'm sitting here listening, and every time I turn around, I just see different things happening. Over 6 trillion, 6.4 to $6.6 trillion wiped out. Guys, like I said before earlier, this is no longer this is no longer Biden's economy. You know, I don't know if you guys remember when Barack Obama took office. Before Barack Obama, for 18 months, he was able to blame the economy on the previous administration. He was able to blame on the previous. Just kept saying, "Hey, the previous administration." He was able to do that for 18 months successfully before of the economy. Okay, it was a pretty bad economy when he got in there. He brought it back. So, with that being said, Donald Trump could have carried this thing on and did a whole bunch of different things. And if it didn't work out, he could have blamed the economy on Biden. He effectively, folks, by doing what he did today, that cutoff, 70 days into his administration, there's a cutoff. This is no longer Biden's economy. Biden can't get the blame for anything that's happening right now. Anything that happens from here on out, he cannot get the blame for it. This is effectively Donald Trump's economy. Congratulations, Donald John Trump, President Trump. You broke it, you own it. Now fix it. So, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and take this over to my man Andrew. Andrew, how you doing today, sir?
Hey, JB. Doing pretty good.
Okay, let's
Uh,
hear it.
yeah, yeah. Today's pretty rough, and I think you're right in your assessment. I do think that this is officially Trump's economy at this point. Scald, even I think it was a couple days ago, had mentioned something like, there's officially a fundamental difference in how the economy and everything is going to run at this point. So that's definitely true, and it does feel trepidatious. Uh, there are a lot of risks involved, but I'm telling y'all, I like a lot. I'll get into it. I'll get into it. Start with this one because I don't think anyone else is going to talk about this. The North Carolina Court of Appeals just ruled that 65,000 voters must prove they were eligible to vote in the North Carolina Supreme Court race, citing missing registration info, including lack of a photo ID, and those identified as never residents. They have 15 days to comply or risk having their votes removed in a race where the differential is 700 votes. So that's very interesting. I can't think of a story like it in recent history. So be very interested to follow that and see what happens there. Uh, Vietnam, it was reported today, along with Israel, was reported yesterday, have both come out to say they wish to operate with zero tariffs with the U.S. So we've already got two countries coming to the table on that. Um, I saw reports today that many more are to follow. I saw some reports about India, Cambodia, the EU, and I think somewhere else, but I have not been able to verify that yet. Of course, Miki said China has retaliated with their own 34% tariff. That pushes their average overall tariff to 55%. Um, we'll be able to play the long game longer than them. So, not worried about that. because their economy is in a lot worse shape than ours was before this all started. So, but we'll see. Of course, the stock market took another hit today. It's been nearly a $5 trillion loss in 2 days, and about 10 trillion since inauguration. So it definitely looks bad. All right. If there are some positives, the 10-year treasury yield is down 77 basis points since its height at the start of the year. That translates to about $1 billion per basis point annually that will save in interest payments. So, um, it's not nothing over 10 years. That's definitely a good thing. I think that's kind of the start of Trump's long game, right? Um, again, he said this would be a short-term pain. He's front loading all the pain now for long-term benefits. That's what we got to try to keep in mind and keep focus here. I know it's really hard to see right now. I did see that the price of gold dropped against the dollar today. That suggests the dollar is holding on to its strength. Um, Bitcoin was up, and the March job numbers were around 225,000, all private sector. That was a lot more than people thought. Um, and oil is also down to $62 a barrel. So, we haven't even seen drill baby drill kick in yet, which, the price of oil is a big contributor in the CPI index. So the next numbers are going to come out on April 10th. So Thursday next week, we'll see what that looks like. Um, we're just kind of in hold on for dear life territory right now. And then finally, March Madness semifinals are tomorrow. Florida's going against Auburn at 6 Eastern, and Duke and Houston are tipping off at 8:45. So all you sports fans, be looking forward to that. Both those games should be amazing. So that's what I got. And happy Friday, y'all.
Great, absolutely. First of all, Andrew, wow, you sound a bit subdued. Uh, what's going on here, man? You sound a bit subdued. Usually, you're excited, fired up, saying that we're winning. Are we still winning?
Man, it's tough to see that right now. I think we are, honestly. It's just it doesn't look that way right now. It doesn't feel that way. You don't eat the fruit from a tree where you plant the seed that day. So I think he's uh, just looking to fundamentally reshape the U.S. trade policy for decades to come. This needed to happen at some point, and I mean, we'll see. I know it feels bad. It hurts. Um, hopefully these are just growing pains, though. So, I mean, it's just we're gonna have to wait and see. I don't think anyone knows. I mean, it's definitely high risk, man. We're just gonna have to wait and see. And he's
So,
definitely gonna take all the blame or get all the credit at this point. And
are you feeling good about this, Andrew?
man, it's hard to say I feel good about it. I'm not gonna lie. It's definitely painful to watch. You know, um,
Andrew, I have a question for you.
yeah. What you got? I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you about this.
Yeah. What if this doesn't like get better in let's say the next two weeks or so?
Oh man, I think it's gonna be by the summertime. I mean,
No, I'm talking about
I think
like
it's gonna
yeah,
be
by
a
the summer.
fourth quarter. Yeah.
No, I'm talking about like a crawlback. If we don't see a crawlback, any crawback. Let's see if we see like
Oh,
they.
I mean, it's not gonna keep going down. I mean, I feel like we've got to be near the whatever it's gonna drop right now. I mean,
Well, the only person I know right now is China that announced their retaliatory tariffs. What about when the rest of the world says, "Hey, let's go after them now. Let's all hit our retaliatory tariffs." I think if they get together, they kneecap Trump and they kneecap the United States and they make Trump look weak and foolish. And I think that's the discussion behind the scenes
well,
because what he did was foolish.
I mean, you may be right. I
What
mean,
he did
listen, I'm,
was
I'm I'm not gonna deny it feels risky, I'm telling you, if there's anyone that you would want to negotiate on behalf of America, I mean, he's one of the best in the
It, it,
world.
it's the guy that lost Trump University, that lost Trump Airlines, that lost Trump Ice, that lost Trump Water, that lost Trump casinos. That guy. If anyone,
But
if we want
nobody
anyone,
bats 1,000, JB. Come on,
yeah,
nobody
yeah,
bats a thousand.
Bankrupted six times, Andrew. Six
yo,
times.
can you guys get her? Don't interrupt this. Don't do that, Doctor Hope.
I
Okay.
mean, I do think that he's
Yeah.
doing the
So
best
wait
that he
one
can.
second. One second, Andrew. Because pretty much the one thing in that he remained successful, and the only thing I think he really remained was New York real estate, and most of his father gave him. And you can't go wrong with New York real estate. Okay. So business that actually had to be operated, that actually had to be ran. Okay. That actually had to be ran. I'm not talking about real estate. I'm talking about a business. Those businesses went under. So you're saying the only if we wanted someone to negotiate for us, it's the person that I don't know, bankrupt all those businesses.
Yeah, you got to look at his team too. He's got Besson on his team. He's got Lutnick. I mean, he's surrounded by some pretty brilliant guys who have been able to successfully manage and turn billions and billions of dollars. I mean, he's not
Do
surrounded
you
by dummies.
are you familiar with Project 2025, the Heritage Group?
To be honest, no. I've heard a lot of talk about it, but
Yeah,
I know that wasn't
you heard about
his.
them.
What's
You heard
that?
about them. You heard about it, right?
Yeah, of course.
All right. So with that being said, that means so. What if I tell you that even they are upset about what's happening right now, and that they didn't see this coming, and they're upset about this?
Yeah, I mean, listen, a lot of people are upset. If you your boy Dave Portnoy today, I mean, I think he said he was down $15 million today. He's not happy about it.
I think he said 6 million when I saw it
I thought
earlier.
it was 15, but I could go back and look. But I mean, I love that guy. I mean, a lot of people who I respect, have a lot to say about it. And, I mean, this is nobody knows absolutely what's going to happen. It definitely doesn't feel good right now. It doesn't look good. But oh, what's up, Grant? Happy Friday.
Yeah. So all right. So I think he's $7 million. He says he's down 7 million.
7 million.
So
Okay, there you
yeah. So there you go. Yo, what's up, GC? We're gonna get to
go.
you, man. Let's get our last dateline because I'm glad you showed up today because you were frightened. You didn't show up any other day before. Oh, is he on the plane? Is he on the plane? Is Grant on the
I don't
plane?
know. I couldn't tell.
Because yeah, because if he's on the plane, because he showed up, he showed his face, guys. At least he showed his face
Yeah, I'd
tonight.
love to hear what he has to say.
Oh, he don't have Grant don't have much he could say. At least he showed his face tonight because he know. Yo, he
He's
showed his
always got a
face and
lot to
left.
say.
Yeah, he hauled ass. He showed his face and hauled ass. He showed his face to show you that I'm on a plane. That's why I'm not there. Yeah, once again, he'll jump back in when he get a little confidence, guys. So, yeah, thank you so much.
You got it.
Yeah. So anyway,
Hey,
yeah,
Miss
yeah,
Jonathan, can
Phantom gave
I
you the finger.
Jonathan, can I
yes.
weigh in when you get a
Yeah,
chance?
we have a dateline. Grant, we
Oh.
need you, man. What are you on the plane, Grant? A Grant guy. So see, Grant, you keep showing Grant's like on and off because he knows that we're gonna wear him out tonight. Uh Skull. Let's get to it, Skull.
Okay, guys. Well, uh, good evening. Yesterday there was a couple
You
people
sound
talking
real
about
echoey, Skull, you sound really echoey.
really echoey. Let's see here. What can I do about that? I don't know. Somebody's mic open?
Get out of
Like
the
you're
bath.
in a like you're in the bathroom.
I'm not in the bathroom. I'm in my office. This is where I'm always streaming from. Uh, let's see here.
His
I
house
don't
is too
know.
big.
I don't know what would be different.
Go ahead, Skull. Let's do it.
All right, here. I'll leave my office. One second.
All right, guys, while we're waiting for
Okay, is that
Skull, yeah,
better?
a little bit. Yeah, let's go.
All
Let's
better.
hear it.
Okay, yeah. So let's go ahead and get started here, guys. Last night there was a lot of people saying, "Oh, buy the dip, et cetera," and I'd hold off on that, right? And then yet again, another day, another drop, 5% on the SPY S&P 500 ETF, right? I mean, gosh, it's brutal. So, we've got another market sell-off here. Looking at VOLD, VOLD, which is net inflows versus outflows, right? So this shows me basically all the dollars going into and out of the economy, into equities, I should say, not the economy, but into equities, right? Into stocks, basically, in a given day, right? And so that number goes up, goes down, right? For the last 2 days, it's gone down. And most notably, it's gone down brutally in the last 10 minutes for the last 2 days. So yesterday, we had a sell off of $500 billion dollars in the last 10 minutes of trading. These are people dumping entire accounts, folks. These are hedge funds, family offices. This is big money, folks. Investment banks. This is a guy yelling across the room saying, "Hey, close out everything right on that desk, right? Just like sell it all, right?" That's how these kind of things show up, right? Is people just literally, almost panic selling, right? And today we had 650 billion sold in the last 10 minutes. So we actually had more outflows in total capital. And this is just the last 10 minutes, folks. I'm not talking about the whole day, right? If you look at the whole day, we're over $6 trillion, right? Sold off in just the last 2 days, right? I'm talking about the last 10 minutes before the bell rings that shuts down the stock market. Just to give you an idea of where we're at. And folks, I'd love to tell you right now that everything's going to be all right. But historically speaking, that's not really the case. Now, I do want to caution everything I'm about to say. As I said earlier, everything we knew about the economy 48 hours ago is out the window because we live in a new economy now. We live in Trump's economy, right? Just like when COVID happened, we lived in the COVID economy. When 9/11 happened, I mean, that was a nightmare. When 07, 08 happened, we lived in a different economy after each of those events, right? And that's happened again to us today. We now live in Trump's tariff economy. Now, the only historical things that I can pull from is in 1930, right during the Great Depression, when we implemented Smoot-Hawley tariffs, and in 1830, also tariffed, which we all a depression, but not a Great Depression, right? So basically, every 100 years, someone says, "Hey, let's tariff people," right? And then people lose their asses so hard that it takes literally 100 freaking years. Like everyone has to die before someone goes, "Hey, this is a good idea. Let's do that again," right? So, I mean, here we are, folks. We're doing it again. And despite our best efforts to teach this in freshman level courses that supply and demand are things that exist and tariffs are bad, because that's typically what you learn in even introductory economics courses and introductory finance and business courses. I get it. You probably didn't hear about tariffs because tariffs don't affect your life, right? It's like learning about DNA or the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. When are you your daily life? But here we are, folks. Here we are, and tariffs are very real, and they are very much changing our economy right now. I want to talk to a few things that Andrew said. Firstly, treasuries. Treasuries are, yes, they are tied to interest rates, but interest rates aren't tied to tariffs, my friend. They're tied to the Fed. And as I, sort of predicted yesterday, and this is a fairly bold prediction to try to predict the Federal Reserve's behavior, but I said, if I was Jerome Powell, I wouldn't cut interest rates. I would let the deflationary cycle happen. I would let the recession or depression or whatever this is take out interest rates, bleed out that economy, fulfill my dual mandate, right? By controlling inflation, and only then would I step in afterwards. And I don't know if you guys remember, but I said that yesterday. This morning pre-market, Morgan Stanley says they changed their estimate from 3 rate cuts this year to 0. And then Jerome Powell himself gets up there and says, "I'm going to need to reassess in this tariff environment." So here we are. He's thinking the same exact way any economist worth their salt would think, which was he was trying to fight against inflation and he was just handed the most deflationary event in the world, which is an economy going into a recession, right? So it would be foolish of the Fed to not look this gift horse in the mouth. And everybody's saying, oh, they're going to cut interest. No, they're not. They're still controlling inflation from the Biden era when we printed a bunch of money during COVID. So I mean, and the PPP loans, and that was, I'm pretty sure, Trump, not Biden, but both of them were printing money like crazy. Let's be honest here. So anyway, they got to control that. And the idea that they're just going to cut interest rates to make you guys feel better, that is not how they work. They have to protect employment, and they have to protect the American dollar interest rates and its stability over time. That is their job, guys. That's their actual job. It's not to make you do good and be able to afford a new house. That's not what they do, folks. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and leave this here, and we can talk more. Uh, Andrew is right. The dollar index did tick up today, and it actually ticked up a little notably in dollar strength. It was 0.78. I will remind everyone that the dollar is down over 5% since the start of the year. So our dollar purchase is 5% less. In looking at our dollar relative to a basket of other currencies, right? So it has 5% less purchasing power. If I say went to London, or if I say went to Rome, right, I'd be able to buy 5% less stuff than I would have been able to buy 5 months ago. That is true. But on today, it did tick up a little bit, showing a little bit of strength in the dollar. That is one bright spot, and I'm just going to land it there and let people start talking.
All right. All right. So, guys, there you have it. We have our datelines out of the way. Skull, I appreciate you. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to toss this over to Nelson Apega. Nelson, are you there?
I'm glad you tossed it to me. We need a lot more common sense in this room, man. All this fear mongering, you, Miki, your liberal compatriots are doing, it's not good. You got my boy Andrew weeping. I mean, Andrew, what the hell is wrong with you, man? Grow some balls. Okay, here's the deal, right? This is a full reset, right? A full reset of the US economy. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, do you expect there to not be any hurt at all? Do you expect there to not be any, glitch in a system, for the lack of a better term? I mean, guys, it's expected. I mean, he said it himself, right? Short term pain, long term gains, right? It is common sense. Okay. I mean, did you guys understand that you have $9.2 trillion of debt maturing this year? Do you guys understand that? $9.2
What
trillion
does that have to do
dollars.
with us losing $6.6 trillion?
Because here's the deal, that needs to be refinanced, right? That debt needs to be refinanced, right? Do you understand that debt refinancing? Because I know you don't understand this stuff, so I'll educate you a little bit here, Mr. Lib. Debt refinancing means issuing new bonds to replace the old debt, right? A 0.5% drop in interest rates, Mr. Bing, if you didn't know that, just like Andrew said, it saves roughly $50 billion in interest payments over 10 years. It's a big deal, right? What do you think's been happening to the 10-year? I mean, you're in real estate. Jonathan, you're in mortgages. Can you tell the room what's been happening to the 10-year? Just as an example.
The 10 years has been going up. Why? What's up? But lately it's been going down. What's going on?
Lately, it's been going down, correct?
Yes.
Why do you think it's going down?
Well, bad news is good news, Nelson. And when you're looking at mortgages, okay, and we got a lot of goddamn bad news coming out,
Thank you very much.
unfortunately.
Thank you very much.
So, so,
That's
so
all I need.
bad news
That's
is
all I
good
need.
news. But
That's
the
all I
last
need.
time the 10-year was going down like this was because we had 9/11, then we had the war in
My point
Afghanistan, the war in Iraq.
exactly.
The,
My point exactly. What do you think Trump is
we
trying
it's
to
horrible to go down.
listen? What do you think Trump is trying to do? Uncertainty. Uncertainty. It's what's hitting the markets right now as a
You're
result of these
so dumb.
tariffs.
You are really dumb.
No, Jonathan. I'm going to educate you real quick, right? Because when Scald was given his dateline, what did Scald say? Scald said hedge funds are literally sell the whole damn portfolio. My son is here. Damn. You are lucky as hell, buddy. Give me 1 second.
What I missed so far?
He's got to run to
You're
ChatGPT to
on
try to
mute,
help him. Give him a
JB.
All
second.
right, cool. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. My son was there for a second. Mr. B, you need to understand. Like Scald said, hedge funds are literally saying sell the whole goddamn portfolio. Why do you think they're saying sell the whole goddamn portfolio? The tariffs are shocking the market, right? The tariffs are shocking the market, and what's happening, right?
Jonathan.
What's happening, Jonathan? What's happening? Investors are fleeing stocks and they're buying safer assets like long-term treasury bonds.
That's correct.
Okay?
Yeah,
They're
What
moving
bro.
happens
their
after
money
that?
into treasury bills and bonds. That's exactly
Exactly.
what they're
What
doing.
happens after that?
But
Lower yields,
and which
right?
brings interest rates down.
Down, motherfucker!
Look at
Down!
look at your housing stock prices up.
Down!
Look
The
at
last thing
look
we
at your
want.
domestic. Hold on. Look at everything to do with housing up today.
Yeah,
But I
but
will
the
tell you
last
this,
thing we
Fib.
want is interest rates going down for
Jonathan, let me
houses.
mute your mic so I
How
can
do you
finish
think
educating you,
what brings
goddammit.
down interest rates? Better
Mod,
Yo,
mod,
yo,
homes.
yo,
let me
don't mute my
educate
mic.
these
Yo,
fuckers.
don't mute my mic. Do not mute my mic.
Okay.
All right, guys, check this out. Check this out, right? Guys, when you have economic uncertainty like this, right? People are scared. And what do they do when they're scared? They sell stocks and they buy safer assets like long-term treasury bonds, right? What happens, right? It results in lower bond yields, right? What does that mean? Okay? You start seeing your 10-year going down, therefore you start seeing your mortgage rates going down. What does that mean for the US government that needs to refinance $9.2 trillion
That's
dollars this
paying
year, right?
$3 billion a day.
Thank right? That means more money to spend on healthcare, more money to spend on infrastructure, the shit that you want, instead of going to refinancing $9.2 trillion dollars. Okay? This is a strategic plan. We
I
need to
don't want.
wait
Oh,
and
all
see
right.
how
Well,
it turns out. Okay?
okay.
Very
Well,
simple. It could or it could actually work.
exactly. It's going to one or the other. But there is a
But
No,
you don't
no,
know
no, no,
right
no,
now.
no, no,
You
no,
but
don't
no,
know
no,
right now
no.
the
No, you guys don't know what right now because right now you guys are going against
No, no,
every
no, no.
goddamn
This is how
economist
you
out
clean
there.
up the mess.
Yeah,
This is how you
yeah,
clean
yeah,
up the mess. First of all, you're not an economist. Skull's
exactly.
definitely not an economist. I thought Skull was an intelligent dude. And then I heard he said tonight, okay, why do you guys think that Warren Buffett late in the third quarter of last year sold $300 billion worth of stocks and converted to cash?
there
Because
you
he knew
go.
what Trump was capable
Because
of.
Donald Trump got elected. Yes, that's
No,
literally
because
why.
that's
Uh,
not
And
true.
I'm
That's
yeah,
missing the
not
part where I'm
in
true.
wrong
the
here,
third
Grant.
quarter,
What am I
Everybody
wrong
knew
on?
the market was.
in
Oh
the
my
third
God.
quarter of last year, Donald Trump had not been elected president. Excuse
He
me,
won the
biatches.
nomination. He won the nomination, so he was the.
So you think he knew? So there was no reason for Kamala to waste $2 billion.
So first of all, it's Kamala. We've
Is
literally
that what you're saying?
wasted $6 trillion that you
There's no
refuse to
reason,
acknowledge.
Mickey. There's no reason, Mickey,
Except he
for
did,
you guys
and
to have
he's done
wasted
it before.
$2 billion because Warren Buffett knew. So Warren Buffett knew. He knew that Donald Trump was going to win. Or did he know the economy was already at its brink
The
and that
elections
it
are
was
in
cracked
November,
and
Grant.
fractured and it needed to be fixed? You're not talking. You're not talking. You're listening right now. Let me educate you. Let me educate you,
People thought you were
My
taking a
little
piss
Cajun human.
earlier. Just FYI.
I, pr- I probably was.
Did you
My
wash your
life.
hands?
So no, I don't. But
What the hell's going on here?
my,
What
Grant.
did I miss? What did I miss?
Ew.
I try to
okay,
like
so let's keep it real. Let's keep it real.
my mind was
This is
way
how
here.
real money rolls. Okay.
I try to refocus, and then when I
Hold
try to
on.
refocus,
Hold
I
on.
hear something about
Can
dick.
I finish? Can I finish,
Go
John?
ahead, go ahead, go, go.
This how. Look, I'm just letting y'all into the white life. Okay. I'm letting y'all have a look into the white life. Okay. Okay. So here we are in the third quarter of last year. Warren Buffett, one of the most successful stock traders in the history of the world, dumped $300 billion worth of stock, went to cash, actually went to bonds, short term treasuries, and is sitting in that still today. I think 330 or 340. Scott could double check it.
No,
We
that's
didn't
right.
have an election
He's
yet.
huge in cash.
We did.
No, that's
We, yeah, we didn't have an election. We didn't have an election yet. He was forecasting that the economy is
A decline.
in yeah, it's in a
And the
decline,
stock
dude.
market was
It's like
overpriced
all the
and it
job numbers.
was.
By the way, the job numbers all this year. They were and had it not been for the job numbers, we would have had a defined recession. 2 quarters, we would have had a defined recession had it not been for the government lying about the job numbers. At the same time, Warren Buffett is dumping stocks, going to cash. He's still in cash today, and he was forecasting a major correction. We need a correction. We got to clean it up. And here we are today. So you guys blame it on whoever you want. I know I said this. Last thing I'll say is I said this in December. By January, February, you guys would be blaming Donald Trump on a recession and you would be talking about deflation. Remember this word. You will be screaming about deflation, deflation by the end of next month. That's all you guys will be talking about.
Because you'll be talking about a Trump session, recession. That's what'll cause deflation. You want to tell them that, or you want to keep that off to the side? Does that not fit into the narrative? Okay, cool. I'm gonna go on mute.
Okay, how about we have a common sense conversation?
A common
Let's
sense
no,
conversation for
no,
you,
no. Hold
Cindy,
on.
is not too
Give me.
common. Go.
Yeah,
Let's go.
yeah. It actually fucking is, unfortunately. Okay. Look, I have been growing boxes for 3 days now. Okay, trying to figure out what his plan is. What is in that man's brain, right? And I keep coming up with the same thing. One, I'm going to say it again. I think he wants to take the economy, crash it real fast, and go into a V instead of a slow decline. So hold on for a minute. Hold on. Do I believe that these tariffs are ridiculous amounts? 1,000%. Said that. Not denying that. But we were going into this. Any good financial advisor moved most of their people into Treasury, got where Ray might have been loaded up in the S&P 500 and many others. Last year, they knew the market was overinflated and it was going to be a correction. So good advisors took and flipped it. So if you were 60%, 40, it went 40-60 or 70-30. Some 80-20. That's why his clients aren't calling. Do you understand that? So good advisors knew this. They knew that they could return them 5% in treasury bills last year, and they did. 5.25, 5.35. They were returning those type of investments. So it was smart for any advisors to flip the coin and move the money differently. And a lot of them did. Good ones did. But I keep trying to figure out what is the game plan here? Does he want to play a game and get the other countries to come to the table and work this out? Just hear me out. We can just kind of look at it, try to play. Let's try to put ourselves in somebody else's brain. Is that the game plan? To make all these countries come and say, okay, like Vietnam's doing right now, let's talk, right? Let's have a conversation. Let's see what we can do here. It's a bad game, but it's a game. Thailand, same thing. Let's sit down and talk. Now that could be his second game. I don't know. I'm trying to do these boxes here. Raising my problem with my third box here is that your infrastructure is not there to bring all this manufacturing back to our country in a short period of time. That's the problem. The infrastructure, you put the infrastructure into place first, then you start with these stupid tariffs and be prepared. This was backwards as far as I'm concerned. Now, if you want to raise tariffs on certain countries, okay, do that. Going across the whole entire world was, as far as I'm concerned, I don't care what anybody says, was insanity. And then how long does this play out? I don't know. I can't figure that out. Can this go into a V recession? But what I have done, and I've been charting this pattern looks very,
Oh my
very,
God. How long are you
hold
going to
on, Grant.
talk?
Listen to me. If you look at the pattern of 87, it almost is following, it's
Two
charting with
hours
87.
later.
Listen to me. If If the European Union does what China did today, you are in, you are
Two
back to
hours
87,
later.
88, 89. Grant, you know this. If the European Union does this,
No, no,
nope, okay, I'm
they
just
won't.
saying, if you follow these charts,
They can't
this
afford
is
it, dude.
looking
They can't
close to,
afford it. We can afford it. We can afford it.
We can
Okay, we
afford
can
it
afford
after
it. But
losing $6 trillion in market value with no
yes,
losses.
yes,
So wait,
$6
we're
trillion
losing
dollars
six
that
trillion
no
dollars
one
to
worked
make
for. You
exactly
guys didn't
how
work
much
for the
money?
6 trillion.
Nobody worked
You
for the
guys
six trillion
exchanged no
dollars.
value.
So what about the equity in
You
your real
exchanged
estate?
no
Did you work
value
for
to
that,
create the
Grant?
6 trillion.
Do you work for the
My
equity in your
real
real
estate is
estate?
perfect today.
So you
My real
earned the
estate's more
equity, but
valuable.
nobody earned the
Excuse me,
gain
you're
in the
talking,
market.
Mickey. You don't
Got
know
it.
what you're talking about
You
again,
don't know what
Mickey.
you're talking about
You
either.
don't
Give the equity in your
you
real
don't
estate
manage
back.
anything, Mickey. You
I
don't
manage
manage
sin.
anything. You might know how to you might know how to spell the word fund,
Sir, a
but that's it,
five-year-old can
okay?
do simple math. You literally said that people didn't earn the gains in the stock
I
market.
didn't
You
What are
they
literally
did
just said
not.
that. You
guys?
also said that a president
They
of the
made a
United
bet.
States
They made a
engaged
bet.
in market manipulation,
Excuse
which
me.
is
Excuse
illegal,
me.
by the way. You didn't know that
Jonathan,
that's illegal? Oh, I
Jonathan,
wouldn't be surprised that you didn't know that market manipulation is illegal, Grant. Surprise, surprise.
oh, that's what they do all the time. But
Yeah,
anyways,
I
Yeah.
guess y'all pay
they
Well,
y'all
do that
well,
all the
attorneys
okay.
a
time.
hell of a lot
Yeah,
of money.
But
one
hold
mic,
on,
guys. One mic. Oh,
Sharpen.
no, Cindy. No, we got to get some different voices in, guys. We got to mix this up. We got to mix this up. Some people haven't spoken before, but before I go, I want to go to Nelson. Nelson, go ahead, jump in. But I want to get some different people in the audience in there because I want to make sure that we have everyone's voice heard tonight because a lot of people are waiting to have this conversation. Go ahead.
Jonathan, the administration's plan is very straightforward, right? I don't understand why people can't see it, right? Let's reduce borrowing costs by shocking the market. Tariffs shock the market, right? And that's exactly what's starting to play out, right? People are running away from the stock market. They're getting involved with the treasuries. You get lower bond yields. 10-year starts going down, rate starts dropping down, right? Hopefully Powell, right? Because again, when people are scared, people spend less, right? People tend to save more money. If they're saving more money than spending more money, inflation doesn't necessarily go that high anymore, right? If inflation is not going that high anymore, Powell has no reason to keep his rates up, which will further reduce borrowing costs, right? Very simple economics 101. But also on top of that, you got to think about what Elon is doing. Not Elon, Doge, right? The goal is to reduce $4 billion a day in government spending, right? You reduce $4 billion a day. That amounts to, I think their goal for this year is what, $1 trillion or something like that. That's a lot of money. Tariffs. I mean, there's an article that came out about 3 days ago. They said with the tariffs that are set in place right now, we could generate as much as $700 billion for this country. Generating that kind of money, reducing government spending,
We
right?
just lost 6.6 trillion. You talking about 700 billion? Okay.
Forget about all that. That's all short
Oh
term.
yeah, let's forget
That
about
doesn't
that.
matter. That really doesn't matter, to be honest with you. Markets
Okay.
go up, markets go down. Big deal, right? If we're generating $700 billion, right? Hopefully this year, if we're cutting down up to $1 trillion in spending,
We're
right?
not. We're not, Nelson.
Yeah,
Here's the thing. The
good.
Senate budget, and even what the House has proposed, does not reduce spending. Those are not cuts that actually impact ongoing spending. Elon Musk is trying to say he's saving this. I think his figures are bogus, and I think if you look at them, you will find out many of them are bogus. But forgetting that, the only way savings are achieved is if the next budget actually doesn't include that type of spending. But that's not what happened. The Senate budget plan actually allows for a $5 trillion deficit increase depending on how they work the budget, but it certainly doesn't call for less spending. And that's why it doesn't work what you're saying.
Nelson.
You are so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
You guys, listen to me.
I,
Let me just say this. Let me just say this right here,
Skull,
because
Skull, can I get a
no,
smart man
no.
to
Let me just
jump
say
in
this
real
right here.
quick?
Hold on one second, because we got a
Jonathan, but
lot of.
you're not smart enough
One,
to
one,
speak
one
on this.
second, bro. 1 second, bro. You got a lot of dumb people up here. Okay, some of the smartest people in the world, some of the smartest people, the most trusted advisors in the country. Okay, from the biggest firms. All right, has come out and we got these two up here telling us that they know what's good. Trump
When
doesn't even know. No, Trump is even saying he doesn't really understand how this is going to figure out. Just stay the course. He's talking about medicine and the sick and patient. He hasn't given you guys any one to hang your hat on, but yet you guys are up here to like you guys know what's going to happen. But then you guys are telling us, the people that's being logical, we don't know because we're being logical and look. And you guys are like, no, there's an ending around to the data that you guys can't see that only we can see. So I'm
maybe
sitting there listening.
Once
No,
again,
no,
Mr.
no.
Bang.
We got these up here trying to. You guys are
calm
like,
yourself.
no,
You're a
you got,
billionaire.
hold up. You guys are like snake oil
Hold up.
salesmen.
Hold up. Hold
No,
up.
no,
We
you
got a
guys
fucking we got
right
a
now, you
fucking
guys are
mortgage
like,
guy.
no, you
We got a
guys are
fucking
snake oil
mortgage guy.
salesperson. You guys are snake oil salesmen. To do,
We got a
and,
fucking
and
mortgage
y'all not
guy
even
up
selling
here.
your own product. Y'all not even selling your own product. Y'all not even selling your own goddamn product. That's the sad part. You guys are booty clapping that will spit in your face and walk past you. Okay, that's spitting in your face right now.
All right, guy.
Doing,
Can we finish? Can we just finish before you lose your mind? Can we finish?
bro. Go ahead. Finish the booty clap because you don't. Go ahead, finish your fictional story, Nelson. Here, I'll give you some music. I'll give you some music for your fictional story, bro. There you go. There you go. There.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Bing is showing off his high level of stupidity. He's a former car salesman sitting on his stage like he knows some shit. Mute the finish. Now going back to Elon Musk and Doge, again, I would trust the smartest man in the world. Respectfully, Tara, that Senate budget hasn't passed yet. Until it's passed, about it, right?
Yeah, but have
The
you
smart.
seen
No, no, let me
any
finish. No,
budget
no, no.
from
I,
the
I need to
House?
finish. I need to finish. I need to finish. Okay. So, so Elon Musk and Doge, they're targeting to slash $4 billion a day, $1 trillion in deficit reduction by late 2025, right? Massive deficit reduction can significantly improve financial stability for the US, right? It gives us a lot of breathing room financially, point blank, period, right? You look at the short term cost savings with long term fiscal health. That is absolutely great. It's cost savings as well in the form of the debt refinance that we need to do this year, $9.2 trillion. If we're doing that at a lower interest rate, that is savings, ladies and gentlemen, right? How do we get the lower interest rate? With tariffs, right? Now, going back to Trump's plan, he's already talked about potentially cutting taxes, potentially, right? In order to provide some form of relief during this really strenuous period, right? Again, we don't know if it's going to happen, but we do know it's a part of his strategy. We do know it's a part of his plan. The only way this plan doesn't work, right, is if for some reason interest rates were to just skyrocket as a result of the Fed at some point, right? The only way this plan doesn't work is if we have aggressive tariff retaliations by the EU. I mean, China already hit us today with 30 some percent. The EU and all these other entities, if they come hard against us, then yeah, it's a
What about
problem.
the paint?
But it's highly
What about the paint
unlikely.
okay?
But it's highly unlikely though for the
Highly
EU to.
unlikely, like China. Highly unlikely, because
China
that's
is a
already
different
happening.
beast. China is a monster.
But
The EU,
China is the number one
the
exporter, and we
EU.
import the
Listen,
most from
listen.
them. That's
The
the
E.
one that matters.
You
Yeah,
guys
But
don't let
Nelson,
people finish. You
one
guys.
second,
You guys don't.
one mic,
No, 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 no. I
one
need to
mic. Hold on,
finish.
hold on, hold
I need to
on, one
finish.
second. I'm gonna get. I want guys one mic on Nelson, guys, because this guy's brilliant. We need to get him on CNBC or Bloomberg. Go ahead,
One
because he's
thousand,
talk. Yeah, this
1,000%.
guy's brilliant.
1,000%. We need some common sense in this country and in this goddamn room, by the way.
Go
Right?
ahead. Let's
China's
listen to this.
Goliath. The EU's a kitty cat. It's a big. It's a big difference. You're lucky as hell. Yeah, that's your name, baby. That's your name. All right, there we go. Okay, so once again, this is just the beginning of Trump's plan. We
Don't wait for there to be common sense. Don't wait for there to be common sense in this room. It's fucking never going to happen. If it was going to
one
happen,
thousand
it
percent.
would
You
have
don't even
happened
need
during the
common
Biden
sense.
administration.
This
Look
is
at the
common sense.
No, there
You
ain't no
guys are the
common
one being
sense in
now.
it. By
ridiculous.
the way,
You
the
guys are
only
being
the only
ridiculous.
thing
Guys,
these people, hey, Cindy,
If
only thing
Biden had
these
done
why
this
people
is
shit,
the
have is
housing?
maybe.
Listen,
Hold
why
on,
is the
Cindy. The only
mortgage
thing
up?
these people have,
Why is the housing
Cindy. The
stock
only
prices
Cindy,
up?
Cindy, Cindy. The only thing these people might have is maybe 2 cents, but no common sense.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. Yeah.
Can I?
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
Don't
I have
yo
one
don't
simple
do not be
question.
I
distracted by
just
that. Do
I
not one
just
second, guys. Do not be distracted by that because he, yeah, yeah, he wants y'all to be distracted by that because he don't want y'all to respond to the facts because the facts isn't on his side tonight. So don't be distracted by that. Tell him thank you and continue to hit him with the facts.
okay. Here's
OG
facts.
got one question. OG has one question.
Who's OG?
So OG James,
Okay, well, who's that though?
that's
Oh, you talking
me.
about yourself in
The
the third
guy
person?
Yeah,
speaking.
I have one question.
He's
Yes, I am
referring
talking
to
about
himself in
myself
the
in
third
third
person.
person. Here's the problem.
Jonathan, shut up.
Doge has said that they saved us $410 per person in America.
Let's
We
go.
just lost $14,600 per person if we broke out the loss in the stock market.
It's been
Make that make sense to me.
less than 90 days, bro. Chill.
Make it make sense though. How do you compare the
Less than
two?
90 days.
The average
Actually,
American
Jonathan,
has no concept between of $1 billion, let alone a trillion billion. So now let's break it down dollars and cents.
Paper
Doge
losses.
saved us $410 per person. We just lost $14,600 per person today.
Bro, markets
Make it
go
make
up.
sense.
Listen, markets go
Don't worry,
down.
Cindy gonna explain it away to you guys. Cindy gonna explain it, and then
No, the
Nelson's
only
gonna
thing I'm going to
Nelson's gonna
explain.
explain it, and then
Yeah.
Grant can come back and lie and
No,
explain it as
I'm
well.
just going to give you facts here. If he's not pushing for the interest rates to go down, here are my facts. Why is the home building stocks up, Rocket Mortgages up, and all the Home Depots, Floor and Decors? Why are they all up today? Because they're
Because it's
looking
common
into the
sense. It's common
no,
sense that
because
Jonathan
the
laughed.
market no
People are rushing to buy stuff before the tariffs take
no
effect.
No,
no
you
no
idiot
no
Dumbo.
because
That's
they
not how it
know interest
works.
rates are going to come down.
No, they're not.
interest rates
Exactly.
are not going to come down.
Oh
Jerome
They're
yes,
not.
Powell
they are.
already
Jerome Powell
said
already said it's not coming
they're
down. Jerome
not.
Powell
Listen, the
spoke
Fed
today.
has nothing
The
to
10
do with the
years
Fed
already coming
rate.
Gonna
down.
bounce.
Mortgage
Yeah.
rates have nothing to do with the Fed rate.
What?
We've discussed this
Yes,
a
they
million
do,
times.
Yes,
Cindy.
they
What are
do.
you
No,
No,
they
talking
they
don't.
about,
don't.
bro?
No,
The
no.
Bro,
Treasury
what are you
market
talking about?
The
controls the.
mortgage rate. No, she's
Oh
right. The mortgage
God!
rates are more tied to the T notes, the
Thank
10 year.
you,
Thank
Right,
you
10
thank
very
years.
you.
right.
much. Smartest
That's
thing you
right.
said today. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, liberals, for admitting that very simple fact. Now, once again,
Only
if
Jonathan did.
if investors are selling out of the market, what are they buying? They're buying treasuries,
Do you have
ladies and
any proof that
gentlemen.
they're buying treasuries? We already said that
That's how it
Course
fucking
you do.
works.
there's over $7 trillion in money markets, you doofus. You don't even know the
Oh my
difference between a
God.
money
Lord
market, a
have
short-term
mercy.
bond, a long-term
Listen,
bond, a
Mickey,
treasury,
Mickey,
a
Well,
Mickey,
I
why
savings
why
do.
bond.
why is why is the
I
10
Use
year
do.
your
So
down?
you want
words,
to have that
Nelson B.
conversation
Why
with
Listen,
me?
why is the
you
10
don't
year
have any
down?
proof
No,
that
tell
people
me.
are going
Tell
to
me. Why
treasuries.
is the 10 year
The
going
average
down?
American
Tell
is
me.
not buying a treasury. Do you own a treasury, Nelson? Yes or no?
Who
Exactly.
wait. Are you telling me the
Hush.
average American
Hush.
yo
Someone they're talking about is
pause,
speaking. You don't have any proof
pause.
that people are going.
You see, you guys don't even let anybody talk. Okay? Let me just say
But
something.
1 second. No. You don't mute people in this room, bro, like that, bro. Yo, who the hell you think you are? The owner of this app, bro? Yo,
Exactly.
you think you the owner of the app? so
Oh, well, if I don't respect
anyway.
Donald Trump, you know damn sure I don't respect you. So the point that I'm trying to make is since January 1st, 2025, US markets have lost over $17 trillion in value because I love
But
how you people
Mickey, I want to finish this point because he was speaking though.
finish
I
what
need him.
point? He doesn't
They
have
don't
a
let
point.
anybody
He's
talk.
pulling shit out of his ass,
They
Jonathan,
just
and you
don't.
know it.
They
I got a
just don't.
sound effect for him.
They don't let anybody talk. Scald, are you here right now, my brother? Scald, are you here?
Why?
I
Don't.
am.
Thank you
I
very much, Scald.
am.
Scald. So
Yeah, yeah,
let me ask you a question, Scald.
yeah.
Very
Okay.
simple.
Yeah.
First of all, when investors sell out of the market in a situation like this, where do they find comfort? Typically, historically, tell me.
Well,
Gold.
historically, you're right about
Historically.
treasuries. However,
Thank you very much.
as I've
No, no,
been
no, 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 no,
saying,
no, no. No, give
wait,
me
wait,
that.
wait,
Give me
wait,
that. Give me
You
Nelson,
got to
that.
give
Give me
him.
that.
You got to let him
you,
answer.
you want the full answer, or do you want the answer that confirms your worldview? Because the full answer is in this sell off, we've seen an increased number of people moving into European and Chinese stocks. So they're not going from risk on to risk off. They're not saying, hey, I'm getting out of the market, I'm going into risk off assets. Instead, what they're saying is, I actually still want to be risk on, just not with Americans. And so it's not happening at like a huge rate. You're right. It's still mostly going into treasuries, right? But it is happening at a significantly higher rate than we've seen in previous downturns. And I just want to note that because it is a little bit different, okay, than previous. Now it's not huge, right? It's still mostly going into treasuries. Like
Thank you.
the vast amount of it's still going into
Thank you
treasuries, but
very
some of
much.
it is going to other countries.
So,
That's all.
Scald,
That's all. No,
why
let
is
me
gold
finish.
at
Let
an
me. No, no,
one
all-time
no.
one mic,
Can
high?
you
one
let
mic.
me finish? Like, what the
Scald, why
fuck?
is gold at an
Let
all-time
me
high?
finish though. God damn. I mean, he just proved you wrong, and you don't want me to finish. It's
How did
crazy.
he prove me wrong?
Okay.
He said mostly. Why is
Can I?
gold
Can
at
I?
an
Can I? Can I?
all-time
Can I?
high?
Ay, yeah, 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 yeah. Lord have mercy. You try to counter me and say, you try to counter me by saying that's not what's happening here. Investors are moving to treasuries, right? You try to say that I don't know anything about the stock market. I don't know anything about stocks. I don't know anything
You
about average
don't.
Americans in it. But that's what's happening though, and that's what's called just confirmed. So let me grab the mic back and let me finish, and I'll toss it over to you. Okay. Second question, Scald. Mickey made a statement about the average American. Does the average American know anything about treasuries, right? Scald, who moves Wall Street? The average American or institutional investors? Who moves Wall Street? Who moves the stock exchange? You tell me.
Oh, it's absolutely institutional. And
Thank you
prior
very
to the
much.
GameStop
Thank you very
incident of
much.
2021,
So
they were only between 5 and 9%. After that, individual investors comprise between 15 and 20%, but still 80% of that is either banks, hedge funds, retirement accounts, money managers, right? Like
thank you very
they're not
much.
individual. Yeah.
That's what I needed because she tried to tell me that do I know what the average American is feeling, how what they're gonna buy? Do they know anything about treasuries? They don't need to know anything about treasuries. The movers and shakers of this market know everything there is to know about treasuries, and when they sell out of the market, historically, typically, for the most part, they move to treasuries. That's how it works. Okay, let's kill the gaslighting,
Um,
guys.
So
no,
there is a
This is how
record
it
$7
works.
trillion
Okay,
dollars
yeah,
in money
I'm not
markets.
done either. I'm not done either. I'm not done either.
You're
Okay,
never done. That's the problem. We're not your wife. We need you to finish.
you're
Hurry up.
you're always on. Just turn down right now because you're losing this battle. Okay, let me go back because I'm stating facts. Okay, thank you, Scald. By the way, you're a very smart guy. Okay, so once again, ladies and gentlemen, right? The way it works is very simple. The 10-year has been going down. You look at the 10-year over the past month. I mean, it's climbed down from 4.4, I believe, to now it's almost sub four in
No, it's
less than in
3.9. It's exactly
It's
3.98.
3.98.
sub
3.98.
my exact point, sub four, ladies and gentlemen, sub four. And guess what? It's going to keep going down. Do you know why? Right? Because the markets are shocked. The tariffs are shocking the market. It's exactly what Trump wanted to do. You shock the market. Institutional investors are going to pull out of it and they're going to go to those treasuries. And that's going to lower those bond yields. The 10-year starts falling. Guess what else follows? 30-year mortgage rates and everything else that has to do with mortgage
And
rates,
that's why
right?
Rocket Mortgage is up right now, and the home
And
building
every single
stocks,
home builder
and the
stock,
floors and
exactly.
decors, and all of them
That's
are
that
up.
that that that's just
Why are
how it
they up?
works.
Uh,
Like
Jonathan, why are they up?
there's no
we have
argument
no
there.
inventory. We have no inventory, guys.
Wait a
That's
minute.
not the
The home
point. That's not
stocks
the
price have
point.
been down. They've been running down all year. Why
Yeah,
today
that's
did
not
they
the
go
point.
up?
Like they real estate right now. This is just common sense. Like with rates.
It's not even common
You know what
sense.
it's
It's
all
black and
about?
white. It's in the
It's
stock
all
market.
about the 9.2 trillion that we're refinancing this. The lower the rate is when we refinance, the better it is for the economy, dude. Right? So get those rates as low as you can so that when we refi, right, we're spending less money to service that debt. It's
So
right?
so we
So it
so
is a
we
real
Common
estate
sense.
conversation.
So
it
are you
is.
done now? So someone
Thank you.
else
I was
can
like,
finish?
he said it's not a real estate
Ladies
conversation,
and
but
gentlemen,
yet you're
round of
refinancing
applause
real
for me in
estate.
the chat, real quick. Round of
You
applause
are
in the
so
chat.
dumb.
Round of
You
Can
are
I
applause in
say
the
really
something
chat.
that's
Drop
dumb.
some
been
ones.
For
Drop some
real.
ones. Drop some ones. Drop some ones in the chat, man. We brought
Can
some
I
common
say
sense to this
something that's been
fucking
left out of
room.
this
Yeah, that's
conversation?
about how much that advice
Let's
was worth
go.
that you gave. So I put
yeah,
several things in the
no
chat,
one's in the
including
chat.
Oh,
that
God.
people have been offloading to cash, which is at an all-time record high, as well as gold, which is at an all-time record high, as placed in the chat as a safe haven from Donald Trump's tariffs. So first of all, I'm
The
appalled that anyone would
bottom.
be okay with a US president destabilizing the US economy just to get some interest rates down. First of all, Americans should not have to pay for the mistakes that the United States government has made. The fact that you are correlating the stock market with the economy is problem number one. I thought he was doing this to bring manufacturing back, Jonathan. So which lie is it going to be, Republicans? Now
Damn!
you're saying that Donald Trump is doing it so he can pay down some goddamn debt. I guess a bunch of real estate
You're a
investors
goddamn
would know
genius!
about debt. Well, no, as an average American with a retirement account, with a 401k, with college 529s, what I need y'all to do is your and go straight to hell with making the market go down almost 15% because now you're talking about debt. The other day, you're talking about manufacturing. Then you're talking about US dominance, and these countries are taking advantage of us. One is it?
All
Every
the above.
goddamn day,
All
your
the above.
story changes. We
All the
don't
Okay,
You're
want
a
above.
to be
okay.
goddamn genius!
executed.
All right, let me
We
punch back.
want a president who does
You're a
not
goddamn genius!
destabilize the economy because news flash geniuses, this is the equivalent of wealthy people their filing bankruptcy than clapping yourselves on the back because you take advantage of laws. We don't want no goddamn president who is going to bankrupt the entire country just dollars. Thank you, and I am done.
All right, let me jump in.
All right. So
Do we
Let,
have to?
let me bring some more facts. Let me bring some more facts.
Nelson, before you go,
Yeah,
I just want to say,
Let's get Storm. Let's get
I,
Scroll in there, and then let's get some. There's just a
I,
couple other people. Oh,
I just want to say that both you and Cindy and Grant have all made arguments for my point, which is that they will likely maintain the core interest rate until, right? They will likely maintain that until deflationary activity occurs, until you see the bond yield curve uninvert, right, and go back to a normal bond yield curve, right? So, like what I was saying in my dateline and what I think will happen is, this idea that they're going to cut interest rates out of the Fed in the next week to give market relief. There would have to be a whole lot of pain for that to happen. I think that they will hold it until those bond yield curves, until that yield curve uninverse goes back to a normal bond yield curve, and until basically we've had deflationary activity to a degree that they feel comfortable once again cutting rates. I want to go ahead and land there, but like basically, you guys kind of made the same argument I was making, but in different ways and with real estate, which is fine. But like, I think that's what they're going to do, and so that's going to cause a little bit of pain for your average Americans.
You're absolutely on
a
point.
lot of pain. No, it's not a
Nothing.
little bit
No,
of
no, no,
pain.
no, 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 Mr. Bing. Listen, you're uneducated. You should sit back and listen. Okay.
Actually,
So
Nelson,
no, no, no. Let me
uneducated.
finish.
You're
Let me finish.
uneducated because
Let me finish.
you keep me as uneducated because you're trying to win a point. Once
I mean,
again, your shit's been off.
he
Your
just
shit's been
agreed,
off. You've been getting
bro,
slapped. You've been
bro.
getting slapped around.
He just agreed with everything I said, and me vice versa. He is
No, not,
absolutely on point with what he's saying, right?
bro.
How do we
You're
get
saying they're
into it?
crashing the market.
Yeah,
Wait, you're saying
yeah,
they're gonna lose $9 trillion. You said they're
crazy.
gonna lose. They lost $6 trillion today and yesterday just to finance $9 trillion.
I don't
Is
give a.
that what you're saying?
No, no, no.
No, that's
You
what you're
see,
saying.
you don't even listen. Let me explain
No,
what I
no.
said.
Actually, that's exactly what you
That's
said. That
not
they
what
got.
he's
That's not
saying.
what I
That's
said.
That
You,
is
not
you,
what he's
exactly what he
saying.
said.
no,
He said we got
No.
you're
$9 trillion worth of
uneducated. That's
debt.
why you don't
He said,
understand what I'm saying.
no, actually, I know exactly what you
You're
said. Just because you
uneducated.
said that shit,
Okay.
He
I'm very
disagrees.
educated.
So
I'm very educated.
Well, I
I'm
hope
restate
very
it.
that when I
educated.
Let me
hope next
restate
month
it.
when you start to get more mortgages under your belt again, you're booty clapping.
Yeah,
Yeah,
now
one hundred percent.
once
So let
again,
me
So make
restate it
sure
the
so
no
that
no
housing
I
phone's
understand.
market,
ringing.
we're bigger than the housing market. First of all, you guys act like the housing market is going to get us through this.
I'm
We're
not
not.
talking about the housing market, dude.
Yeah, you
That's not what
are.
I'm
You're talking
talking
about getting
about.
the 30-year mortgage rates. Why are you talking about the 30-year mortgage rate then? I
I
know
was
you talk about the
correlate.
UT. I know
I
you.
was, dude. Listen. I can talk about 30-year mortgage rate. I can talk about rates on your credit cards. I can talk about rates on
Well,
your
that's
fucking
short term.
auto.
Those are
Uh,
short term rates.
These are
That's what.
consumer rates. These are
No,
rates that affect
no,
the.
no. Your credit
Ay, ay,
card,
ay,
okay, the
ay,
credit card is
ay.
where if the Fed was the lower rate, okay, those are the short term rates that's affected by that. The credit cards, Nelson.
Don't
You
hurt
just
him,
made a
Jonathan.
fatal
Don't hurt him.
error. You just made
Can
a
you go on
fatal
mute?
error.
Can
My
you,
uneducated ass just caught you in a fatal ass error. Hey, Cindy, the credit cards are they short term
can,
loan or are they long term rates? Cindy, what are they?
can you
They've
go away
always
from
been
your mic
long-term rates.
so I can finish,
Well, the
please?
federal, it's the Fed rate.
Can you move away from your mic so I can
Go.
finish, please?
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Because this is pointless, right? We're not talking about the housing market. We're not talking about real estate. We're talking about the U.S. economy right now,
Of
right?
course.
Nine
But you guys
point
brought
two
that up.
$9.2 trillion
I just brought the stock price up.
of debt. You correlate that directly with the U.S.
What
as
kind
a
of debt?
country,
What kind of debt?
right?
What kind of debt? 9.2 trillion and what
What are
kind of
you
debt?
what are you talking about?
Commercial real estate, right?
I'm not talking about commercial real estate.
Forget
I'm talking
about
about
commercial real estate. That's been in the
I'm
hole for
talking about
three.
you debt, the debt that we spend on and so much time talking about. I'm not talking about real estate. Okay? So like real estate people fuck up. Open and think about the US economy because that's the conversation. It's not if it was I wouldn't be here because it's a waste of fucking time. Okay? Thank you very much. So
Why do you
here's the
keep bringing
thing.
it up?
You
Don't
got
hurt
it.
him, Jonathan.
The only thing I brought up
Yeah,
was
I'm
what
gonna call. No, don't go
what
on
I
mute because
brought up
I'm gonna
was
call
why are
CNBC. Hold
those
1 second, Cindy.
stocks up?
Cindy, 1 second, because I gotta call CNBC and get his ass up there so he can because the because no one has heard. Yeah, you guys are spitting. First of all, we're honored that you guys are here spitting all this facts and stuff, this
What
information that we
facts?
didn't know.
What facts?
Okay?
What
No,
facts?
you and Nelson just put out
No,
all kinds of facts.
no. Job
He
creation report is up to
hell,
220,000 from
the credit card is affected by the 10-year, according to him. The credit card rate's affected by the
credit
10-year.
card rates or whoever they want to charge you, okay? Period. End of story, okay? Never seen credit card. You only
Well,
get
why do
30
you bring it
days.
up then?
Okay, I didn't bring up credit cards, okay?
Let me explain.
Nelson did.
Let me explain the flow. Wait. Pause. Let me explain the flow. Let me. Dude, mute that fucking sound. I taught you how to do sound
Yeah,
effects.
okay, all
I'm your
right, whatever.
teacher. I'm your god. So shut the
All right,
fuck up and let
whatever.
me finish.
Let's
So
rock out.
listen, it's very simple. Shock the economy, rates will go down because investors will migrate to treasury bonds. Shock the economy and people will spend less, hence leading to a deflationary period. We hit deflation or anything remotely similar, the Fed lowers rates, which then affects what? Your credit cards and you want to talk about thinking you're the smartest man in the fucking room, right? Me, Scald, we're on point. Same Cindy, she's on point, same lane. Grant, on point, same lane. These are common sense things that we all should be agreeing with. There's no argument, there's no debate. It's economics, right? It's how it works. The only way this backfires against Trump is if by next year, by either I'll say probably 6 months leading up to midterms, US manufacturing hasn't caught up, right? With what we're losing as a result of the tariffs, right? Trump is betting that by 2026, production, manufacturing, all these things will catch up to where they further ease the pressures from the tariffs, right? This is a
Nelson, but
He's
it's
playing your conspiracy music.
you're
Give him a
playing
sense.
you're playing Russian roulette here a little bit. A little
Exactly,
bit.
Cindy. Exactly. That's why he's X Files right now.
I
what
mean,
X Files, dude.
it's it's
There are
a
midterms.
50-50 shot, Nelson.
It is
That
a
it
50-50 short, but he's taking it. That's his plan. I am talking about his plan. I'm not
okay.
saying if it's going to work or not. I'm
Then why the
trying
hell
to
are you booty
get these
clapping?
guys. There's
As an
no booty
American,
clapping. No,
I don't want
no.
that plan.
Oh, I'm glad.
Eh, All right. I- Like I said, 100%, I know I'm going to feel pain. Okay, why would I want that 50-50? Because that 100% of that, I'm going to feel pain. Either way.
You've been feeling pain in your industry for over a year plus
Yes,
now.
Cindy. Hmm.
So
Yeah, people have been losing their fucking
you'll
jobs all over
stop
the
feeling
fucking
the
place.
pain very fast, by the way.
The
Jonathan.
plan here is very simple.
Go ahead,
Okay,
Luis.
if it works, it's great for us as a
If it
country.
works. If it
If it
works.
works,
Yo,
yes, because there's a
It'll
yo,
possibility
never
it
yo,
doesn't.
work.
Jonathan. Yo, Jonathan,
You
I'm
can't
sorry,
say
bro.
that. There's
I'm
no
sorry.
absolute.
You're talking about the only man that I know of that has bankrupted four casinos, the places that print money. The whole term "the house never loses" is because casinos don't typically go out of business. But
Of
you're
course they
talking
do.
about the man
Many
who
have
put
gone
it.
out of business.
Listen,
Stop.
listen. My point is this: this man has bankrupted four casinos. When you talk about the person to bet on because they make good bets, it's not, with all due respect.
like a Rachel Maddow episode with you, Luis.
You can Rachel mad on
That's a
my
fact.
ass.
That's a
1991
fact.
No,
Trump
no, it's just
Trump
you
listen.
literally regurgitated exactly what
1991
you said,
Trump
almost
bankrupted the
verbatim.
Taj Mahal.
It's almost
1992
verbatim.
Trump Castle Hotel and Casino. 1992 Trump Plaza and Casino.
What
2004
state were
Trump
they in,
Hotel
Lewis?
Casino and
Lewis,
Resort.
what state? What
1.8
state,
billion
Lewis?
dollars.
What state, Lewis?
New Jersey.
Okay, thank you. What happened to gambling in New Jersey?
Exactly.
I'll tell you what happened. Foxwoods opened in Connecticut, and people went to Foxwoods, the largest casino in America, and they left New Jersey. They didn't have to go to New Jersey anymore. So all your people in New York, New Jersey, where'd they go? They went to Foxwoods and Mohegan Sun. That's what killed them in Jersey. Why does anybody want to go to the slums of New Jersey and go to a casino there when they can go to nice, safe Connecticut and go to Foxwoods and Mohegan? So look at your time frame when you say that, Lewis. Look at when Foxwoods opened, and then look at when Mohegan Sun opened.
He was
Yep.
So
also
you
convicted
agree
of
this
money
man's
laundering.
bets
He
ain't
had
worth
no
shit.
choice. Atlantic City went down the tubes because of Foxwoods and Mohegan. If Foxwoods and Mohegan never opened, then it left the Northeast people to go back to Atlantic City, and they would have stayed in Atlantic City and played.
If my aunt be my
It's
uncle.
not if, it is.
Whoa.
That's
Talking about
information.
here.
And the saying is, if your booby had balls, she'd be a Zadie. So get it, get it
Exactly.
straight. But the
Exactly.
point is, you can't tell half the
You
story.
guys are
Lewis,
going off
you
of
can't tell
hopes and
half the
wishes and
story.
dreams, and you
Mohegan
don't
and
got nothing to prove
Foxwoods,
it.
Lewis, Foxwoods and Mohegan put Atlantic City under. Period. We all know that.
That
Anybody
that,
with a
that
half a brain knows
no
that.
that no Cindy, not Foxwood. I mean, that
Oh
wasn't
my
what put Atlantic
God.
City
Yes,
under.
yes, they
No,
did.
no, they contributed, Cindy. They contributed, but don't say that's what put them under. A lot
What are
Atlantic
you
City had other
talking
problems.
about? Where do you think the gamblers went to?
Cindy, the gamblers, okay,
What?
up in New
What?
York,
The gamblers went where?
the ones in New York, a lot of the ones in New York did go up there, okay, but Cindy, Maryland opened up casinos. Everyone up and down the East
Not
Coast
back
opened up.
then. Not in 1990, buddy. Stop. Open up the year when Foxwoods opened. Then open up the year when Mohegan opened. And by the way, Mohegan pulls from New York and Jersey, and Foxwoods pulled from Boston, New Hampshire.
So
And
he's
that's
made
why
bad bets
Mohegan
before.
got a higher class of clientele.
This is what Luis is saying. Y'all are saying Trump is betting, and if this happens, he's made bad decisions before. It
Okay,
does not matter
but
why
I'm
you
just staying
bankrupt a
on Lewis's
business.
point right
He
now.
bankrupted a business. In
Can you
addition, he was
again?
also fined for the Taj Mahal for money laundering. This guy doesn't do business the right way, which is why you're praising him for crashing the goddamn
Nobody
stock
is
market.
praising it. Everybody doesn't like this.
What do you
Nobody
mean doesn't
likes
like it?
this.
It's illegal. The president of the United States is destabilizing
Nobody
his
likes
own
this.
country.
And I'm telling you this, Mickey, you've seen nothing yet. How about this? I think Monday and Tuesday are going to even be worse. And I swear to you, I think it's going to follow the same charts of 97.
I
That's
So
just
agree.
my
I
take.
think it'll be
Cindy,
another
so
Black
can I
Monday.
so,
ask you
so
one question? Cindy, the first bankruptcy that Trump had was in Atlantic City was in 1991. Foxwoods didn't open until 1992. Why did he go bankrupt in 1991?
Preparation, economy was bad, people weren't gambling.
I see.
Remember
So
that.
now there's other
No,
factors
no, no,
that
no,
you
no.
just said.
Now,
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you want to, let's go further back. It's just like Vegas right now is hurting. Every casino in Vegas is hurting right now. Do you know that? From the
okay.
nightlife to the restaurants to the strip joints to the casinos, they're all hurting right now. All of them,
Yeah,
every
we're talking
single one of
about
them.
we're not talking about now. She's talking about back then. We
Exactly, Cindy.
And
Answer
again,
that
I was
question.
saying in 89, 90, 91, there were out there. There's
Trump
the
had
answer.
massive debt. He
she's
had
in
too
the
much debt on
category.
There's
his
your answer.
casinos.
The
Had too
economy
much
was in a
debt on his
shithole. The
casinos. You're
last
not
thing
willing to
people
even
were
acknowledge
doing
this.
was gambling
Come
in
on.
1990.
Oh my God. Cindy, you're
That's
Can I
not
called
ask
willing
a
to
Wrong.
acknowledge
stupid
that Trump
question?
had
Can I
massive
jump
debt on
in?
his
Oh my
casinos, which
God.
led in part to the bankruptcy. Just
Can
tell
I
the
ask a
truth.
stupid
Because
question?
you had Black Monday
Hold on,
87,
Angela.
87, 88, 89, 90. Going into 91 were five bad years, Kara. Were they not?
Yeah, but great businessmen don't care
And
about
wait,
Yes,
when did
they
it open?
do.
When did the
that.
Yes,
Taj
they
Mahal open? It
do.
opened
Come
in
on.
1990.
Lots of businesses went
Cindy,
under
he
those years.
opened it in 1990. If it was so bad, why did he open it then? Why did he even get involved with it? Think about this.
That I
And
couldn't
opening
tell you.
grand closing.
Trump did not open up his first casino in Vegas
When Taj Mahal was opened in 1990, and it
but it
had
was
massive
built in
debt,
80
and that
what,
was one of the
hun?
reasons
It
why
was
it went
built
under.
in what year? When was the start of construction on that one? If you're going to tell the whole picture, tell the whole story. When did they start to build that casino? You think it takes a year to build a casino like that? Tara, go back and tell me the
Jonathan,
start of
you're the biggest piece of shit in the world for
tell
that
me when
fucking
they
music.
started the construction of
That
that
music's too
casino.
loud.
Please, I'm
Fucking
asking a
liberal.
question, Tara. I don't want to sit here and Google. Since you got a computer in front of you, when did they start to build that casino? Read it to me.
Cindy, once again, he still
What's the
made that
matter? No,
bet.
I'm
He
making
still made
valid
that. No,
points
Cindy,
here.
Cindy, no, he still
Okay.
made that
Answer the
bet. The bet.
question, Jonathan. Answer the question.
I
87.
just, he
There you
I
just.
just
go.
looked
So
it
let
up.
me just stop you
87.
right
But you
there.
said
The
from
start
85
of
on,
let
he
me
had
just
too
stop
much
you right
debt on
there.
it. Cindy, be
Let me
honest.
stop you right
He had
there.
too much debt on it. You know that.
He did.
Every but listen, all
Overspent.
casinos got debt on it. You got to build a
No, his
building.
was his one of the reasons it went bankrupt so quickly was because he overspent on things.
He overspent on the build out.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me somebody. Tell me something I don't know. Name me one casino. One casino's ever been built on budget because they haven't. Go talk to the Fountain Blue. Go talk to Sofa at the Fountain Blue. That'll
But
be the
Cindy,
next. That'll be the next
Cindy,
casino that
Cindy,
goes
you're
down.
off I-95 right now, Cindy, because
No, I'm
Luis
not
brought up the
actually.
fact that,
If
yeah,
you
Luis,
start to build
Luis
something in
asked you, Luis
'87,
said to you that he made bad bets. That casino, no matter when he started, if he's over it, whatever, it was a bad bet.
prior his other casinos were doing very well until '87. He started the construction of '87. His wife was running those
80
casinos, and
and
they were doing very well for a long time.
2025.
I would just like to call out and say I like that we're now all admitting that basically if this doesn't go like a very specific way, we could be profoundly fucked,
Everybody knows
right?
that. You don't have
And
to be
that
a rocket scientist to know
okay,
that. You don't
That's what's
have to
gonna
be a
happen.
rocket
We're
scientist.
gonna all blow up if it doesn't go. If we got 48 different paths it can go, and one path that it can go that is gonna make us well.
I
That's
mean,
what we
and
have
that,
here.
Cindy, I think you even acknowledged that this has to be somehow perfect. No one has to respond in an unexpected way. China already did. If the EU responds in the
They
way
are.
that he doesn't anticipate,
I'm
we're
telling you,
screwed.
you're right. If the EU does this on Monday and Tuesday, we are fucked.
So, what kind of a president makes a gamble with the United States of
I
this
don't know,
nature?
Tara. I don't know
Why?
his
But
game
A
plan.
complete
I
idiot
but
does that.
I was on a
We're
Well,
the
stage.
we
Let me
can
tell
use
you,
dumbest.
I
words
was on
like
a
We're the
complete
stage.
dumbest.
idiot. We can do all that.
I was
Well,
on a
let,
guys,
let me
stage
let me
today.
ask you a
Can I
question.
just
I
What
gotta
finish?
if we
interrupt.
all?
I
Can
got
I just
breaking
finish?
One mic,
news.
one mic, one mic, one
Cloud
mic.
desert.
Well, I got
1 second, guys. 1 second here, guys. Yeah, you gotta. Breaking news. All right, let's get that breaking news.
I just want to let everyone know if you're a little concerned, an entire trade delegation boarded a plane from the European Union and just flew to China. They landed in Beijing. Europe is doing a deal.
Oh,
Oh, oh no. Okay, I'll land.
oh, yeah.
Oh, you see
They
this
gonna
guy?
say
See this
now?
guy? Number one bullshit
Oh,
guy.
What
He
y'all
do
gonna
the
say
wee
now?
woo wee woo.
Yeah, found out.
Well,
Found out.
I was on a stage today on X with.
Wait a second.
Can I
Wait,
just? Okay,
Tara, 1 second.
sure.
Hold on, because I want you to know because they're gonna get real quiet for a while while they digest that because they gotta figure out how to defend it. But go ahead, Tara. I just wanted to let you know that all those
So
loudmouths about to get
That's
real
not
quiet.
true. I
I
Go
said
ahead.
was
it when I first
Go ahead,
came in the
Tara.
room.
Cindy.
Sick of this.
I was on a
Sick of
stage today
this.
with people like what's his name, Mr. Singleton, who's a black commentator on CNN, a Republican, and a number of other really strong economist people from Fox, etc. And not one of them was defending this. Not one of them was not saying wow, this could be a massive mistake that will hurt people, okay? And you're saying the same thing. So my question then is, why would anyone do this as the president of the United States dedicated to helping the country, making us better? Why wasn't there a different path, a more nuanced path, a path actually where he actually listed actual tariffs instead of nonsense figures that he made up? A more specific path, a more surgical path, surely a smart person, a really smart person could have done that. Yes?
EU's not waiting if they just flew into Beijing. We
Cindy, did
talked
you
about
hear my
this earlier.
question? Did you hear my question?
I'm sorry, no, I didn't. I was talking to
Okay,
Ray, but
what
I
I
couldn't
was
hear you earlier.
saying with is a true he made up the tariff numbers as we know. Like that chart was bogus, right? He made up a whole bunch of stuff. He basically put tariffs on the whole world as if, without even doing it surgically, without even
And,
actually
and
looking
what
at
and
things.
what did I say? That was the
And what I'm
stupidest
trying to
move.
say is, if you're the president of the United States, your whole purpose is to, bring the country into a good position to steward the resources, things like that, to help people. Why would you make this play? Why would you do this when there were other more targeted ways to potentially bring the country?
If you remember when I first came in the room, I've been trying to play Cindy, putting Cindy's brain in Trump's head and making boxes all day, trying to figure out what the game plan is. Did you not hear me
Is it
say that?
possible, Cindy, that the game plan is just, I'm going to be the biggest bully in the world, and
Maybe, possibly.
right? In
Uh,
which
He
case,
looks
it was,
he
in which
okay.
looks a
case it
little
was
Cindy,
I
potentially a
he
tragic
I
looks a little
mistake.
crazy right
I
now.
just folks, I just want to clarify one thing. 4 hours ago they announced they are putting together a trade delegation to fly to China. So they are currently doing it, right? They
Okay,
are
hold on, hold
they're
on.
not
Did the
there
plane
at
land or the plane didn't land?
the plane has not yet landed, Cindy. So
Okay, then
there
that was
might be a
false information. So
there
Ray's
might
right when they said they were gonna hold off till Monday.
He just
Okay.
they
corrected himself.
they're putting it together right now though, Cindy. And Ray knows that. So
What
you're
you said was the plane
so
landed in Beijing, so
I
it
He
did
thought
just
not land.
corrected
I thought it
himself.
did.
Hold on, Yvonne,
But
please. What you
I
said was
thought
the
it
plane
did. But
landed.
the point is, they've put the group together. So
Okay, we know
they,
that. We know that.
th-
That's not new news. That's not new
okay.
news. What would
But
have
you do
been
know what the
what would have
international
been
date
new
line is.
news? What would have been new
You do
news?
know
They
their
just came
Monday is
in.
our Sunday, right?
Okay,
You know
yes,
that,
I
right?
do. I do.
Okay. Okay. I
But
was just
what you
making sure you
said
knew.
was the plane landed in Beijing. I said that to Ray, and he said, no way. So he said they're holding off till Monday. You said the plane landed. I repeated back to that to Ray, said, absolutely not. That's what you just heard Ray say in the background. So when
All
you
right.
say the plane has landed in Beijing, okay, we got problems. But the
No, no,
plane
no.
didn't
Yeah.
land yet.
Okay.
When I heard Ray, I went through and read the actual statement directly from the trade minister. So that's when I was like, okay, maybe not. But listen, their Monday is our Sunday. So this could happen over the weekend, Cindy. This could
Trust
very
me, we're
well happen
watching
over the
it.
weekend.
Dude, we're watching it. Trust me. There's not one of us out here that think this is not cuckoo crazy.
Yeah,
We
you
think
guys
it's
are defending it
absolutely
like you guys
crazy.
are defending it like it's not cuckoo
No, I'm
crazy.
not
Wait,
Yeah,
defending
you
it.
no,
guys
we
I
are.
heard
said to
Yeah,
Grant
you,
yeah,
defend
you
it.
guys
listen to
are.
No,
my
we heard Grant
words.
and Nelson defend it like it was
I
not
don't
cuckoo
care.
crazy.
This
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
Cindy talking.
I understand, but
Okay.
you're not telling the truth.
I
We
don't think
heard
it's
Yeah.
people
crazy. I
defending
don't.
this. And like I said, I don't actually think most of the people who Trump has appointed believe in this. They're going to follow him over the cliff. That's clear. But except for someone like Peter Navarro, who's, insane about these things, I'm not certain most of his cabinet even agrees, but he's
Okay.
doing it and they go with it.
Okay. Grant just jumped in. I want to hear what he has to say. Go ahead, Grant. You say you don't think this is crazy? Let's do it.
No, I don't think it's crazy. I think it's needed. I think you're having a liquidation event right now. Even gold went down $200. That means people are liquidating. Bitcoin's had a lot of volatility. That means it's being liquidated. It's actually come back from where it was. And people are going to liquidate their positions until they're certain. The idea that people are moving their money to China is crazy.
No one's moving their money to China, Grant. You know that, and I know that. They're
That was
trying to
the
get their money out of China and bring it to America. Now
dude.
America's going to bring money to China? Come
Yeah,
on,
and
that's about as insane as the planes landing.
totally, and the idea that if China wants to jack on the tariff game, their stock market will roll over so hard it'll make what happened in America look like a nothing event. So unfortunately, you guys just you've
But
had a
Grant,
long run.
what we
I've been
have to
saying
admit,
last one thing. I've been telling you guys for I don't know 12 months, Nelson. You've heard me say if you're in IRAs, 401ks, get your money out, grab your little bit of profit, and move on, man.
and pay your
This
taxes.
market has needed a correction for a long, long time. 4 years of the Biden administration, it needed a correction. The entire
All
4 years,
right.
by the way.
Grant, smart people knew that the market was going to correct.
Yes,
They've known it for, they've been preparing for this over 12 months.
yes,
12 months. And like I
yes.
said, good advisors have been taking their clients and reversing what they've been doing, putting them more into treasury bills, keep them safe, and keep less in the S&P 500. Okay? Where up until a year ago, people were heavy in the S&P 500. But once they saw the treasury bills last year, a year ago, start moving up at 5, 5 and a quarter, yes, they went into the treasury bills. How could you not?
All
It
right,
was the
guys.
safest investment in the world.
Yeah.
So the
All right,
market
guys.
has
Here's the deal.
returned.
One
I'll just
second.
say this,
One
Jonathan.
second. 1 second, guys. Hey, guys. Wow, man. It's been like nonstop since we started. We shot this starter pistol off tonight, man. We haven't stopped. Guys, listen to me, man. Welcome to Debate the News. We're definitely having a conversation. This is a very polarizing conversation, and we fall on either side. I don't think no one's in the middle on this one, man. So it's a really great conversation. A lot of contribution from different people, different perspectives. Guys, listen to me. The gloves are off. Cindy, Grant, Nelson, they're all fair game tonight, guys. They're all fair game tonight. No protections whatsoever for them at all for calling out this BS. So they're all fair game tonight.
Alibaba. Hey, Scald. Alibaba is off 16% in overnight trading right now.
Yeah, because of the tariffs.
Yeah, because they're not in a position to do this. Don't you guys understand the game here?
Thought y'all said that we weren't
But
in a position to do
Grant,
anything,
We
which is why our
we
president was crashing the market. So why
no,
couldn't
you
we do
guys.
the same thing?
but Grant, you know
Nikki,
what did finish
Nikki,
green? Bitcoin. Bitcoin finished green. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
At
because
the end of the
Trump
trading
said that
day, it
he's
was
going to
green.
make this the reserve.
Anyway,
So whatever that
wait,
means.
Bitcoin's going to what? What did you say, Scald?
I was just saying Bitcoin finished green, like on
Yeah,
the
I know it
like
did. I know,
I
which
know.
is crazy
Yeah.
because most of the time when it's liquidating, it's going to liquidate too.
Right,
So
because normally there's a high correlation, right, between
yeah, yeah,
Nasdaq and Bitcoin. But yeah, this is a
yeah. It
crazy
looks
break.
it looks like it's gonna break that possibly. So
Bitcoin come down really high. And that's the problem when we're talking about just what happened in the last day or two. So I'm not giving financial advice because I don't know anybody's situation. I just want to point out that the S&P
because you
500
don't
has
have any
literally been
financial
tracked
advice to give.
since 1923. I know when to say don't listen to wealthy people that don't wash their hands after they pee on camera. I know that much. So,
Well,
what I can say,
you didn't
Crazy
see me
work.
peeing on. First of all,
I
you didn't
didn't
see
want
me
to
peeing
see
on
it.
camera.
I didn't want to
You
see
didn't
it. You
you didn't see any.
correlated the cleanliness
You
of your
shouldn't say that.
wanker to whether or not you washed your hands and then said white people what you is the S&P 500 has literally been tracked since 1923. Over time, the stock market has returned 8 to 10% annualized. The 5 years, 4 years of the Biden administration, we saw significant returns upwards of 25%. So if you're feeling a little froggy, right? Look at your 5-year returns or your 3-year returns. Do we have an idiot in office? The emperor has no clothes and he thinks that he can threaten everyone by watching the US economy crater. I don't know where we're going to get extra money to do manufacturing when you have companies like Nvidia, Tesla, Exxon that are losing money. So now they're supposed to bring manufacturing back as well as recoup market losses. Again, Trump's math is that of an autistic 2-year-old. And I say that because I have an autistic child, right? And I think he's actually smarter than Donald Trump. So he could probably run for president too. Donate to his campaign shortly because I'm going to run a meme campaign on TikTok since a lot of Republicans seem to like the videos on there. But like I am saying, please do not listen to random ass people on the internet, regardless of whether or not they are wealthy, because as we know, a lot of people that deal in real estate are actually liquid poor. So they're probably the ones that are liquidating the market because they don't have any money to pay their loans,
I'm
which
far
is why
from
they want
liquid
the
poor.
interest rates to
I'm
come
far
down
from liquid
because
poor.
they over
Do not
borrowed
ever make
and
remarks like
over
that.
leverage and now now they're trying to tell you to liquidate their 401ks because they need some help paying their damn high interest loans.
Okay, yeah.
That's
So
so
don't
stupid. Can
listen
you
to
get
Okay.
that's
random
so
So
stupid?
people
now
on
I'm
the
liquid.
internet
I'm
give
liquid
Hey,
poor.
financial
Jonathan,
advice.
can you hit
Okay.
that?
Thank you very much.
That's so stupid.
Far from liquid
Audio.
poor.
Go wash
She
your
didn't call
hands,
no names.
Grants.
She didn't call no names.
Now, Mackie,
Are
you
you?
just made a remark that most real estate
She
people
might.
are what?
She
They
didn't
You
call.
are
got no
so
liquidity.
dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
Yeah, you're really dumb. Yeah, yeah. Well, here's what you don't understand, McKee. Real
What's that
estate
interest
people,
rate on those loans,
real
Grant?
estate,
When are those
real,
payments due? You got to refinance, don't you? You got to
real,
refinance, don't you,
real,
Grant? If
real
those
estate.
rates come down, you're going to refinance, aren't you, Grant? Yes or
Real
no?
estate people can't liquidate.
Exactly.
Real estate
Exactly.
real estate people don't liquidate over 2 days. They don't liquidate ever.
No,
That
you
is not a
liquidate
liquid
over
No,
a
on the
asset.
week.
contrary, we're buying.
Oh, so 2008 never happened, right? Did you liquidate in 2008 too? Yes or
Nope.
no?
Bought.
Exactly.
Bought.
Oh, everybody bought. So screw the people that lost.
No. But if you were smart in real estate, you bought through the bad years. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to know that's when you jump in the game. You don't jump in the game when things are skyrocketing to the roof, to the moon. Sorry, but
I,
you
Cindy, not
don't.
everybody has the ability to do
I can
that.
attest. I can attest.
Well, if
One
you're
second. I can
smart and you
attest.
play
Cindy.
the
One
game,
second. I can attest. Cindy did buy during those years, guys. She did buy during those years.
it's
I can
Yeah,
right on the
attest.
it's
and
right
and
on the internet. I don't have to lie.
yeah,
It
Well,
and
seems like all
I
my
guess
purchases
and
seem
I
to
just
hit the
completed
internet.
$800 million of transactions with no all cash and no debt. So Mickey, I don't know if you know the difference between debt and cash, even though they were both four-letter
I
words,
know you
but
have to
they're
borrow
different.
money to buy property. I know that. I know you were
Okay, well,
crowdfunding on Clubhouse when you
how
made
did
that statement online that said, "I can just show black men my gold chains and my what did you say your little helicopter got?" And I
be
don't even
careful?
have to explain the technical
These are
terms
just
to them.
these are
Be
just
careful
Remember
about
all
you
those
know
making
what?
rooms
stuff
on
up
These
now,
are
Clubhouse,
Mickey.
Grant, when they
personal
called their ass
Mackie.
out?
These are
Yeah, I
personal
remember that.
attacks.
Grant Cardone said young black
You're
men would put
making
$5 in a
personal
Yeah,
pool,
attacks.
yeah,
told them they
guys.
could
Calm it
need a
down,
house,
Yo,
Jonathan.
guys,
even if they
let's keep
could
this.
invest with
We,
you. Don't
we
start
get,
with me tonight. I'm
yeah, but
my
yeah,
portfolio is down 15% and I don't
Your portfolio started with $10 in it.
yeah,
Stop it.
bitch. Go. You first generation $5
yeah.
Louisiana crackhead grant. Your shit won't last two
Dude,
generations.
you
All right,
use
those are
use
total
the same
personal
That's
rhetoric
attacks
like
right
on
you don't
now.
have
Okay,
any
guys.
fucking land in Lake
Total
Charles.
So,
personal
so,
Nobody
so,
believe
attacks.
you
bring
gay
back
let's reel it back in, guys. Let's reel it
Yeah,
back in.
let's
Personal
not
attacks.
Let's
Personal
keep that.
attacks.
Yeah, one second. Let's keep this thing. We want to keep this in this economy, guys. We don't want to get off of this economy and Trump because we have a lot because we got to skewer Trump for what he's doing right now. And so yeah, let's do this, guys. Let me just say this. And Cindy Grant, you guys weren't here earlier. Snarky Puppy, TC, you guys weren't here.
I would just
But,
like to say, Jonathan, you're a moderator of this room. You're one of the
You
best
did say they were
moderators
fair
on
game.
audio.
You said they
yeah,
were
yeah.
fair game.
You're one
I,
of the best moderators on audio, but you should not allow some of this
I just thought
borderline
that.
information and crazy talk.
what?
So
Man, don't be
so
trying to get those players on her. You got to be able to
so
take this. You don't ask me to stand in the paint.
one second, guys. One second.
You really
What?
shouldn't allow somebody
I
screaming at
You
people, calling them crackheads every night, same rhetoric to
yeah.
everybody when she
Well,
loses an
People
argument.
so
lose
one
an
mic, guys.
argument.
One mic, guys. One mic.
You should have
What?
some
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, now
decorum.
yeah,
you
yeah,
want to talk about
yeah.
Wait,
decorum?
Okay,
Grant just
okay.
said
So
Talk
he
about
had
anyway,
Grant.
decorum?
decorum.
That's it,
so
Josh.
there you go. There you guys go. So here's the deal. This is a question I have for you, Grant, Cindy, TC, Nelson. You guys agree that this is no longer Joe Biden's economy, right? You guys agree that, right? After yesterday and after these
Yes,
tariffs,
it's not Joe Biden's economy.
okay, good. You know, Cindy, I love you, and that's why I love you because you at least you're honest. It's no longer Joe Biden's economy. Nothing can be blamed on him from this point forward, and that's the sad part because Barack Obama was able to use that excuse for 18 months. Okay, it's the previous administration economy that I'm dealing with. And what he did was he broke it immediately, and within 70 days, we can no longer talk about Joe Biden's economy. It is definitely his economy. That's all I have to say, and I'm happy that you guys acknowledge that. Go ahead, let's
All,
move
all
forward.
I'm saying
Look, I
is,
want to jump in. I want to
don't
jump
fall
in.
for JB's tricks. He just tricked all y'all, and y'all got finessed.
I'd like to
What's
say
up,
No,
something.
Mark?
no.
What's up, Mark Days?
The truth.
What's good,
Hold
Mister
on. The
Big?
truth is,
You still
the truth
framing,
is,
boy.
right
You
now.
worse than a carpenter out here with that framing. I'm telling you.
No,
But
that's real,
Mark,
Mark.
no, no, no. The truth is, who's ever
No,
holding
Jonathan
presidency,
is correct,
it's their
guys. This
economy
is
right now. It is their economy right now. It is
it's
Trump's economy
100%
right
Trump's
now.
economy. Like you can't take this away from Trump. There's 100%. He's 100% correct. This is Trump's economy. But what I
Yep.
think we need to recognize is the fact that Trump is actually exercising his authority and he's doing it very well because there's a strategy behind the matters. There's some character behind the chaos, folks. What
Okay,
happens when you
TC,
when
what do you think is behind
I'll tell
the
you
red
exactly what happens.
the
Three
red
things.
curtain? Tell me what's behind the Wizard of Oz.
Let me tell you what's happening. Trump is making a risk. He's taking a risk. He has a very high risk appetite. People that are not business owners or have not become, CEOs of large companies don't understand what a high risk appetite is. Basically, he's taking a risk on the economy. He's suggesting or he's taking a bet that he's going to raise the coffers of the federal revenue by raising tariffs on foreign governments, foreign manufacturing things into this country, foreign governments that are taking advantage of American trade. He's going to raise tariffs on them. That's going to generate revenue for the economy. That's number one. Number two, he's going to incentivize American manufacturing. What that does is it creates a decoupling effect. America has become far too dependent on foreign governments for its necessary goods and
Mm,
products. I'll give
uh-huh.
you a prime example. America is dependent on China for pharmaceuticals. A lot of the drugs, a lot of the pharmaceuticals that we import into America, a lot of the medications that our citizens take
You mean
come
like
from China,
penicillin?
like penicillin, amoxicillin. A lot of these things are coming from China. And the reason why we have to decouple from China is because in the event, it's really this economic approach is really a national security
Hmm.
protection that he's using against foreign adversarial countries. Take, for example, in the event that there's some sort of conflict that arises that disrupt trade routes and can disrupt our trade relationship with China. Imagine for a second that we can't get life saving medications because our pharmaceutical industry is so indebted and dependent on the Chinese trade relationship for a lot of our life-saving medical equipment and life-saving
Yeah. Right.
pharmaceuticals that
Hmm.
we can't survive. What
Hmm.
Trump is doing is saying, "Hey, you make that stuff here. We don't have to be dependent on these foreign countries to supply our pharmaceuticals, to supply our chips. Majority of our chips and semiconductors come from Taiwan.
Yeah.
If China was to invade Taiwan immediately, we're so dependent on those chips coming in from
Yeah.
Taiwan
So
that it creates a national security threat to the United States. So, what is Trump doing? He's incentivizing investment in the manufacturing base in this country. Listen, we're not a manufacturing economy anymore. We were like 120
Third
years
point.
ago.
Go to the third
Now
point,
we're a
man.
consumer based economy. But that doesn't mean that we don't have manufacturing capability within this country.
did you read all this in a
So what
coloring
he's
book?
saying is, excuse me. So what he's saying is, we're going to raise tariffs, but at the same time, we're going to incentivize domestic manufacturing
Yeah.
by
Yeah.
allowing you to write off interest rates
Well, you
for
know.
domestic made cars in America on your taxes. So it creates more buying and spending
Hmm. Yeah.
incentive
Yeah.
for
Yeah. Yeah.
domestic vehicles
Hmm.
simultaneously. I think this is genius. Now, here's what the risk that we run.
You would.
The risk that we run is that he strains the economy for so long and so acutely targets these tariffs for such a dramatic time strain on the economy, and it could actually create disruption and destruction. That's my only caveat to this, and I said this before. My concern is that Trump is going with a very heavy hand right now, Cindy, and he needs to be very, very cautious and very sensitive to the way things are happening in the markets and the way things that are happening in the economy. Because if he does this for too long, it could create a recession. And I believe I made this argument before. I believe that America is already in a pocket recession. This is a term that I coined. Basically, that we're already in a recession, but nobody's calling it a recession right now
You did not
because
coin the
it's
term
under the.
pocket recession.
Excuse me. I did coin the term. Thank you very much. And I think we are in a pocket recession right now. And I think if Trump, pushes too hard and there's not the type of intended outcomes that he's expected, Cindy, very recession be good for anybody. Not even the rest of the world, not even America. So I think he has to be, very delicate. He has to uh, you know, uh, walk lightly but carry a big stick in so many words, Jonathan. Those are my thoughts. I think we're in a good position. Remember, Cindy and I told you guys this time and time again. We said it probably every other room on Chatter. We're going to experience some economic, we're going to have to tighten our belt for the first 6 to 18 months. And that's exactly what we're experiencing because guess what? In order for you to build a muscle, if you're working on your triceps or your biceps, you have to break that muscle down first before you can build new muscle. This is a general law of nature. Anything that has a fissure in it, anything that's
Yeah.
broken from its foundation, you have to reduce it to its foundation and rebuild healthy structural growth.
Mhm,
And that's
mhm.
exactly what
But
Trump is doing
here,
for the
but
economy.
TC, here's where I have another problem. He's reducing fund for medical research. Now that's a big one for our country. You know, cures for cancer, for MS, for many diseases. You have now he's
Yeah, but
reducing
Cindy,
the fund for
Cindy,
research.
we
That
haven't gotten any of that. Like, I'm all for them cutting stuff because, like,
no, he's already reducing the funding for research. That
yeah,
that we
I
know is
know,
happening. So if
but
we want to talk about antibiotics and everything else, I don't understand that you're going to reduce funding for research for cures in the future. That I have a problem with severely. But whatever, that one I have a problem with, TC. I can't
So,
get
so
past that one.
So
what I
TC, real quick, because
And
first of
yes,
all,
TC, we've said we're going to feel a hurting for a while, but
yeah,
we were
I want
going to
to.
feel it
TC's
we
anyways.
both,
Going,
you're
Yeah,
right, Cindy.
we
We
were
yeah.
going to
both
Let's say
said
feel
it.
it anyways.
Mike,
No,
one
let
second,
me ask
guys.
this question. I'll shut my
Hold
mic
on.
off.
I
Jonathan,
want
did
to.
I not say to you months and months and months and months ago, a year ago, did I not say it doesn't matter who becomes president? We're going into a down economy. Did
You
I
did,
not
Cindy.
say that?
You did, Cindy, but you didn't anticipate this shit. Trust.
No,
Remember,
I
you.
did not. But I
Both
Okay,
did
Cindy and I,
you
both
anticipate,
said no.
Cindy
but
and
You
I
I,
said that
did
over and over again.
anticipate
both
that we were
Cindy. Did I
going to
not?
gonna
Did
go
I not also
24,
say
Yo,
the same thing, Cindy?
no, hold on,
23.
TC, 1 second,
Hold
TC.
on.
One
In
second, I gotta give TC's props.
22,
Go ahead,
think
go ahead.
about it, Jonathan. 22, we talked about this. That 24 we're gonna start to feel the effects of a down economy. And we're gonna feel from 24, 25, going into second quarter of 26.
I,
That was my prediction, and I'm
I have
still
you
sticking with
recorded.
that.
I have you
Cindy,
recorded
both
saying
you
that
and I
probably.
said the same thing.
One
We were
second,
both on the
bro. I
same
have you
page.
recorded at least 100 times saying that, Cindy. So you're right. I have you recorded at least 100 times saying that. TC, I want to
I was right
congratulate.
there with you, Cindy. I
One
said
second, one second. No,
same.
no, you weren't. No, you weren't. You were a
Oh,
liberal
come
back
on,
then.
Cindy. She'll
You're
tell
a
you.
liberal back. Oh, 1 second, TC. You're a liberal back then. But here's the thing. What I want to say to you, TC, is I want to give you props and congratulations because not too often, I do that. But you came in here and you created a term, pocket recession, and then like it hit Chat GPT and hit everything already, and it's all there. Your term, you were able to get it up on all these websites. Pocket recession or mini recession refers to a briefly, relatively minor economic downturn, distinct from a full blown recession characterized by a temporary slowdown and economic activity. So, TC, I got to say shout out to you for you to come up and coin that term and then get it onto all these websites and all these mentions and everything that quickly. I mean, that's just gotta say
Bro, get to
you're
your
phenomenal.
goddamn point, man.
Yeah, I got to the point. You're phenomenal, bro. You're phenomenal. Okay, to come up with that and get it on all those websites already, and everyone's quoting it and using it. So go ahead. Just wanted to do that.
Aren't you all getting your information from AI and Google and the
What?
news right
What?
now?
I didn't say. But
We
we're
don't
not
say we
saying we're
coin
going.
it.
We're not saying we're going.
We don't know where we're going right now. How's that? How's that? We are all lost in space right now. We are all lost in space right now.
Nah, the
And we're
liberals
going
are
to have to watch.
definitely way more lost in space for sure.
Look, I don't know one businessman that's happy right now. Not one. Not one, okay? But it is what it is. They all think
But
crazy.
I'm
And
not
they
lost.
all,
Got two of them. We got two or three of them on this space. We got the only
but,
ones. We have
but
Grant who's
Cindy,
listen,
happy.
but
We
Cindy,
have
that's
Nelson
Cindy.
who's happy. Come
again,
on. I'm not
Look,
lost.
no,
I'm
TC
not
and
happy.
Grant and Nelson.
I'm
This
just saying
was,
his
I
plan.
agree that we needed the tariffs. I just felt as though he should have lowered interest rates first, then went down that path, okay? I think he did the
I've been
reverse,
telling
and I
you,
don't think that was good.
I've been telling you, he was using the tariffs to lower the rates. I've said that so many times in here.
Well,
And
that's
Cindy,
I
the way it
guarantee you,
looks.
China, next week, China will be buying our treasuries at
yeah,
lower
they
rates.
always do. Cindy, Cindy? You will agree that you and I were both on the same page that this was going to happen,
I
correct or am
called
I
it,
wrong?
yes. But the difference is I don't call it here. Go to Yahoo Finance, look for it on Google. I said it in 22 on Yahoo
Now
Finance.
here's
I called it again. This is what
no,
I
no,
do, and I try to figure out cycles.
this
That's
is
why I've
what
been
you guys
able
can
to
look forward
sustain
to.
for 37 years in business, is understanding cycles.
I've only been
We've
in business for
talked
10
about
years,
this for
Cindy.
5 years now. Cycles.
So Cindy,
Now, what
Cindy,
you
I've
got was a cycle that was literally down our throats for sure. But I keep saying there's got to be a method to this madness, and I'm trying to figure that out.
well, we got
Smart
the
people
method.
sit
We know
back.
what the
I
method
don't
is,
want to
Cindy.
hear about economists because I don't know one economist that's worth billions of dollars. How's that? And if they
Yeah,
were
that's
so
true.
great at calling economies,
That's
then they
true.
would be extremely wealthy people. And I
Listen,
mean wealth of
Cindy.
wealth of wealth.
Cindy, here's the thing, right? I've only been in business for 10 years, but one thing that I've learned is you buy low and you sell
Sell high.
high. And guess
Period.
what? A lot of people have their heads on fire. The Democrats and the liberals are, basically stoking the flames of hysteria in America. And that's why you have in all these forums and the media establishment and the Democrats and everybody's singing the same tune that America's on fire when it's not. This is the market, folks. We know that there's ebbs and flows to the market. The market has been on an 8-year bear run binge for the last 8 years. What
Can
do
we
you
at least
expect to
admit,
happen? The
can
market doesn't
TC,
like
TC,
volatility.
can we at least admit we didn't have to throw them on every tree? Like, come on. How come we didn't throw it on Italy?
It's called. Hey,
How
listen.
come we
It's
didn't throw
called
it on
shock.
Italy?
It's called shock and awe, Cindy. You know what shock and awe is.
I get
This
it.
is
We
a
could have, but we
strategy of the
could have
Trump
done this.
Do
administration.
shock and
He
awe.
Italy's
said
part
he
of
was
the
going to
EU,
We
bring
could
Cindy.
shock
have
and
It's
awe.
done it
He didn't hit
without
Russia either.
doing
Right.
it to the whole entire world. I mean, come on.
It's
We could have
called
made a
shock and
shock.
awe. What the fuck do
Okay.
Italy is
we
part of
what
the
the fuck
EU.
do we expect for Trump to do? Listen, he came into a failing economy, Cindy.
No, he
Desperate
did
times
not.
call for
Not failing.
desperate
What are you talking
measures.
about?
What do you
Yes,
expect
he's
him to
right.
do?
The
He's
economy has
going
been
into an
failing
economy where we're
since the
sending
end of
hundreds of billions
23.
of dollars
He's
to
right about
Ukraine.
that, guys.
He's
It's been a
going into
tough.
an economy, into a
You look
geopolitical
at it from real
environment
estate.
where we have
I
our enemies that are emboldened, like Iran and the Houthis in
Yeah,
Yemen
that's
and
TC.
Hamas
Grant,
in
That's
Gaza, that are
TC.
taking
Grant, how long,
advantage of American
Grant,
allies. What do
how
you
long
expect
has
him to do?
commercial, hold on, guys. How
Still with this.
long, Grant, now has commercial property been a big problem?
Yeah, but y'all look at it from real estate. The
No, no, no,
economy's
no, 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 no. This is called banking. There's loans on those commercial properties.
yeah,
They're
but
going to
but
get,
what
they're
I'm saying is that
defaulting every day, buddy. And they've
yeah,
been defaulting for a
but
year and
but
a half
everything in the
now.
economy is money moving. People buying
But
goods and services. That's always
Carlos,
the
you
fundamental of the
gotta
economy.
still look at, you still gotta look at the banks are
You know,
taking big
y'all are
hits.
stuck on this real estate thing, and just
But
because real estate
it's
is doing
not
bad,
about real
doing
estate. It's
anything
about the
else.
bank. Carlos, please listen to what I'm saying. If all these commercial properties that are going bad every day for the last year and a half, that was prior to Trump coming in. Am I correct about that?
Yeah,
Okay. If those loans keep going bad, upside down, upside down, upside down, upside down, you don't think the banks are going to feel the pain?
yeah. So
You
you're
don't
saying that
think the banks
we're
are
a
going
bank?
to feel the pain?
Cindy,
You're
those are
talking
going to keep
about
going
a banking
tits up
crisis.
because 20% of businesses are staying remote, like permanently. So, like, they're going to keep going
More than
tits up.
20%. Come
Yeah.
on.
So
Every
they're going to
financial
keep going
district in
tits up.
every state is empty.
I know. I know. So that's what I'm saying. I
Okay.
said those are nothing happening right now is going to change that. So I don't. I'm not
I
really.
agree
I'm
with
not
that,
under.
but don't, but this
I don't
started
understand your argument here. Like
because this
that's not
started
like
long before Trump got in. We were having major problems, not little problems. We were having major problems. Now, if you want to go backwards, we can go backwards. Now, this is another problem that we have. And we're betting on, I don't know what the bet is, that this does us good. I think, first of all, I would have put the infrastructure in place first, but that's just me. I would have built the buildings for the manufacturers to come back. And where are they coming back to? We still have to build these. This doesn't happen overnight. You're not, and a building is built. Doesn't happen that way. Can't build it
You
overnight. This is not
guys are
a
changing
teeny
these policies,
home. It's not a
and you
teeny
guys are saying,
home.
but you're
Cindy,
saying
you've got players like BRICS, and you've got players like other countries that are creating economic alliances. You have to understand the world economic order is being challenged. America used to lead the world economic order, and now that's being challenged. In light of those facts, you have to understand that America has to take a very strong stance when it comes to international trade. It has to demonstrate its dominance. And that's the way Trump is moving. If anybody's
It's not
curious
a
as to what
price,
TC,
Trump,
that's
bro.
hold on,
TC,
hold on. If
TC,
anybody's curious as to what Trump is doing, all you have to do is
putting
look at
tariffs
what
on penguins.
Malay, hold
5
on,
minute
look at what
diatribe. You
Malay
talking
did
about
in
20
Argentina. I'll give you guys an example. Anybody can look this up.
name a
Malay
BRICS
was
country.
elected
Get
in
to the
Argentina.
point.
What he did was he removed the departments. He removed the equivalent of the IRS that America has, the IRS in America. He removed that equivalent in Argentina.
Are you talking
And
about
what
Argentina
happened?
again?
What happened? The country experienced a
You say this
massive
every night,
surplus in
TC.
1 year. The country experienced a
Argentina
massive
is not
surplus.
We're
America.
not
Now,
Mundo
what is Trump
Shikari.
Argentina.
doing? He's taking a threefold approach. What he's doing is number one, he's reducing spending. Anybody that owns a business understands this. If you're going to become cash flow positive, or in the government context, a surplus, you have to what? Reduce spending and increase revenue. This is the play, folks. Donald Trump has simultaneously reduced spending, cut the size of government. He continues to do so. And he's increasing revenue by raising tariffs
Are
on
you
foreign
forgetting about the
countries.
tax
Now,
cut to
what does that do?
corporations
That
that's in the budget?
creates
He wants to
surplus
add
for
$3 trillion
America.
dollars
And
to the
now we don't
deficit,
have to
TC.
worry
That
about
doesn't
how
make
we're
any
going to pay
sense.
our bills. Remember, we
How
were
are you
continually
decreasing spending when
running
he's going
a
to add to the
deficit
deficit,
spending
sir?
year over year over year. The
He
last
did this
time
in
we had
2017 as
surplus
well, in
spending
case you
was
forgot.
back during the Clinton administration. We didn't have surplus
TC,
spending
you
since
sound like a
the
broken
Clinton
record.
administration.
Hush.
So we have to understand what's happening here, folks. Donald Trump is taking a very aggressive and price confident move on the economy, and it's not going to make everybody
Pushing.
feel good. That's the
But
point.
but you
It's
can't
not
compare
intended to
it
make
with
people feel.
Argentina. You can't compare it with Argentina. Argentina prices in the last 2 years of goods and services has doubled. So how are you gonna compare with Argentina? So don't even mention that. Don't mention something you don't know about. So
Yeah,
that's one thing
what
you need.
the fuck's a price confident move? I mean, what does that even mean? I
It's
mean, I
price
understand those two
confident. You
individual
understand what price
words.
confidence is? Price confidence is understanding your
That's
pricing
another
and not
coin that
compromising. That is.
term that
That's
you
right.
coined.
You're absolutely
It,
goddamn right, Jonathan. Right. It's
So wait,
another
TC is
term that I coined.
acknowledging
So
you're
he's
saying that
taking
Donald
price
Trump inherited a
confidence.
bad
What that
economy.
means
So you
is, I'll
think
tell you
it's
guys
good
what
for
price
the
confidence
American
is.
people for the
Price confidence
president to
is the
deliberately
ability
make
to
the
stick to
economy
your
worse?
guns and say, we're going to engage in
Can
trade that
anybody
is
explain that to
fair
me?
and not at a disadvantage for America. And we're not moving on that. So when China comes in and says they're going to double down and put reciprocal tariffs on America, America says, guess what? We're going to put those reciprocal tariffs back on you. That's what price confidence is, right? It's the ability to double down and triple down, even when
Did you
the other
coin that
economies
term too?
respond. You're not going to give up any ground. You're going to say, hey, we're in a confident position right now. We're going to double down. You put tariffs on us, we're going to put tariffs on you. Everybody thinks that China and Canada and Mexico is responding to us. No, we're responding to them because we were at a trade deficit with these countries. And now that we're implementing tariffs on these countries, now we're leveling the playing
God.
field and creating incentive for
Okay,
foreign
TC,
buyers and
TC, I
foreign
hear what you're
players
saying,
to
but
Okay,
manufacture here in the U.S.
did we
I
have
just
to
want
go
to.
as high as
Jonathan,
we
are we being punished having to listen to TC for 10 minutes?
did we
Yeah,
have to
I just
go
need
yeah.
to go
Because
Well,
ahead.
nobody
well,
wants to listen
well,
to
one,
you.
Here's the
one, my
question,
guys.
TC, though. Here's the question,
Hey
TC.
guys, what I want. This is what I want to do. I want to get someone. Cindy, I'm going to. I want to get someone else in. I want to get one. I want one person that hasn't spoken yet to jump in. Anyone that hasn't spoken yet that wants to jump in. I want you guys to jump in real quick. Anyone here?
I would like to jump
Me,
in. I have a question for you, Jonathan.
I
Go ahead,
want.
Mark.
My question is just to touch back on what you said a little bit
I'm
earlier
a
about us being
Trumpster.
in. No, I'm definitely not a Trumpster. I support what he's doing right now, but I still think he's a racist and a bozo. But I respect what he's doing, and I'm not against it. But JB, I have a question for you. So when you say we're in Trump's economy now, I mean, other than people kind of freaking out as far as investments are concerned and shifting their position and maybe becoming a little bit more risk adverse at the moment, what effects have we actually seen that have trickled down to the American population? I mean, shouldn't we be giving it a little more time before we say that we're actually in Trump's economy? Isn't he kind of making moves based off of coming out of the last economy and trying to set up a new economy? Like, I'm just trying to figure out. It's like a serious
Uh,
question. Like,
Exactly. And the reason I said that is because typically when the president comes in, a new administration comes in, they're given grace. They're given a year, 18 months, okay, to sort of make the economy their own and own it. Okay. And that's why that happens all the time. When Biden got in, he's like, yo, I'm dealing with the Trump economy, what happened, all the bad stuff for COVID and all that. When Barack Obama got in, he for 18 months, he kept saying that he was in the economy, the Bush's economy, the previous administration economy. For 18 months, he said it and he was able to get away with that. Okay.
He
But
did
when you
that for
make
8 years. Actually, he did it for 8 years.
no, 18 months. But when you make
He
changes,
blamed the Bushes for 8 years.
no, he didn't. When
Yeah,
you
he
when
did.
you make these changes like that, because he had a very good economy, so he's not gonna get that credit to him. So, but when you make changes like this, Mark, that's this wholesale that are this drastic, you now lose that. You can't no longer say that this is not your economy. You have to own it because it becomes your economy right away. He could have done a lot of things. He could have put other things in place. Took a little bit more time, but he no longer has that cushion. Every economist in the world and history will say that this was his economy from
Dude,
from
he wants the
immediately.
credit. He
Well, my
wants
thing,
the
my thing
credit.
is, hold on one second. I appreciate you. My thing is this, right? Firstly, I believe we have to first see how these moves play out because it can look like checkmate now, but as we know in the game of chess, which I believe Trump is playing with these other countries, sometimes you could be 5 moves ahead, 3 moves ahead, 10 moves ahead, or 3 moves behind. We don't know yet because we haven't really seen any major event take place other than people getting scared because of the implementation of these tariffs. And furthermore, if I may comment on this and I'll be quiet, I believe that we've been being bullied by the rest of the world. Maybe not in the military sense, but I mean in the economic sense. And what I mean is
Yes.
this, and
Yes.
because we come from the environment, Jonathan, it's true that a dude will walk down the block and smack everybody in the face and cut on everyone and make fun of them. But the minute someone tries to do that to him, he want to kill you. He want to wild out. He want to break your neck. He want to stomp you into the ground. Those are bully tactics. These reciprocal tariffs, which I do support, are just us slapping back people who've been slapping us the whole time, in my opinion. Now, I don't know how it's going to play out, but I'm not against America pushing back against other countries and saying, hey, and I think it should be worse. We shouldn't be putting 46% tariffs on, I believe it was Vietnam, and their tariffs against us are 90%. If it's going to be reciprocal, I believe it should be dollar for dollar, percentage for percentage, and see how that plays out. Now, if some people capitulate and say, hey, we'll back off of the tariffs and let's meet somewhere in the middle, then our goal is accomplished. Or if they just end up not being able to trade with us or the price of those particular goods go up, and then we have to activate our own manufacturing here in the United States of America to supplement for the missing goods, then that's a good thing in my opinion. So I really don't see how it plays out bad other than people who are overreacting because they have an emotional response to not liking this guy. Everybody's kind of tripping right now, but I just would like to see it play out and see if it actually will be beneficial, which I do believe that it will be. That's just my
And I
opinion.
would like to add to what Mark just said. Mark, man, it's so good to hear some intelligence for a change.
Uncle G, man, what's happening, man? That comb
Vietnam,
over is epic, by the way. That's the most epic Joan I ever
you,
seen, man. What's up
you
with you,
like that, dude? You like that?
man?
I'm always working on a new look, bro.
That's
The
that
thing
new
about me,
governor get up.
it doesn't take me very long to get it. Um, Vietnam shouldn't charge us anything
A
to
penny,
deliver
bro.
products to our country. Not a
Not a
penny.
penny. Seriously.
That we are doing them a favor. Do you know how long it would take to create a consumer economy like we have in America? It is much easier to create a manufacturing economy than it is a consumer economy. We are the greatest
100%
consumer
agree.
nation on the planet. All these countries need us. Okay. And we're going to come out with a better deal. Unfortunately, you guys don't. I mean, a lot of you guys just want Trump to fail. You just want him to fail. And then some of you just are confused. But we will be a better economy, a stronger nation, more independent, and anything that's not going to get tariffed, we're going to start building here. There's going to be entrepreneurs in America. They're going to start figuring out, I'll manufacture here, I'll build here, and build and creating manufacturing today in parts of this country will not take as long as it took back in the 50s because of the technology we have, because of AI, and because of these states that are regulated to produce a new manufacturing. Look how fast Elon built his capabilities in Texas. It was like he didn't even miss any business. Thank
Hey
you.
Grant, check this out,
I
Yeah,
right?
disagree.
So
one second, guys, real quick, because I want to put this out there because you guys keep talking about speaking about these manufacturing jobs. They're not coming back. When they build these factories, they're putting robots in them. Okay, that's what they're putting in them, and so these jobs aren't coming back because the American economy. I guess the employment for the
John, someone has
what
to
they
get to work
charge.
with robots.
One second, bro. Okay, so yeah, what they're doing is they don't want to have to pay us pay
Look
15
into the
30
light.
hours
Look
hours.
into the light.
You don't have to pay $30 an hour.
Look into the light.
But
Repeat
Guys,
after
Jonathan,
me.
so,
can I?
Repeat after me.
hold on, I want to do this real
Repeat
fast.
after
Hey
me.
guys, one second, I want to do this right. Guys, you guys listen to Debate the News, man. We got a full house up here, man. I love it when we have a full four cameras going. I love
Well,
that.
yeah, but when they're good looking people, it's one thing.
Yeah. So we guys, we
I
got this
mean,
camera going up
at
here. We
least
look.
3/4 of them are good looking.
Yeah, whatever.
Not the Birdman
We
hand rub.
so we have these people up here, guys. This is great. So what I want to say to you guys, look, if you guys are listening to Debate the News, come join us live, man. Download the app from the Google Play Store, the Apple App Store. It's free. You guys can do. We do these rooms nightly, and if you guys are listening in the room, make sure you guys are following the app, guys. I want to say thank you guys because this has really been a great conversation. We're gonna keep the conversation going. So we don't got Jeff. You got to drop down, bro. Boom. I said four people.
Yeah, four.
Uh,
Can,
You
can
want
I?
to
Can I ask?
yeah,
Can,
force them, huh?
can I ask a
Bring the
question?
top
it
in.
gotta be. It's gotta be four.
You don't want it to be a Diddy
I,
party.
no,
Yeah,
it gotta be five.
God
Five.
dang.
Five doesn't work for the cameras. Five doesn't work for the what you call
no
it. But go ahead,
homo,
Mark.
bro.
I just want to ask a question to you, Jonathan, or whoever would like to answer. Pertaining to the manufacturing aspect, what is wrong? Let me frame it like this: have we seen an improvement in logistics? Have we seen an improvement in quality? And have we seen an improvement in customer satisfaction and service as we've involved more human resources in anything that we have in outside of sales, right? And even some people can't get that right. Customer satisfaction has gone down across the board in most companies. Customer satisfaction has gone down. Deliverables are slacking when you have human involvement. If you can automate a